What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Pipe Up 2022.
Episode 7. How you going?
Yeah, I know. I just checked. The last episode was 9 months ago.
9 months.
And the last episode, we say it every time we do an episode, but like, it was that long ago. Crazy.
Oh, yeah,
But also, it was the first time we talked about the house.
Oh,
So it seems fitting that we have some updates to talk about.
Yeah. Because last time it was the announce, wasn't it? The announcement.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, it was just talking about that it was happening at some point.
So we got some extra stuff to tell everyone.
Yes. But before we get into that, welcome to the show. If you've never seen Pipe Up before, we do this when we have time, which, as you can tell from the fact that there's only 7 episodes total from like 2 years or something like that. We have a lot of time. Spare time is a bit tricky.
Correct. And I suppose that's a combination of many things. Lots of work, lots of outside of work things. The house is, I suppose, one part of that. The other part is that we had to move from our house too.
Yeah, that was a big thing in our last couple of months, and probably a bit more stressful than we were anticipating, I think.
You've moved plenty of times, haven't you? Did you find this one the most stressful?
By far the worst. Oh, yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've moved. I think this is my house number 13 or 14. So, I mean, I moved a lot when I was a kid, and also moved a lot when I was like just after school, you know, when you're a student and your only possession is like an Xbox. So when you move, it's not really that bad.
Do you think it was the sheer number of possessions that made the move difficult?
Yeah, I think our expectations going into it were a little ambitious because we were like, yo, we're going to move over the weekend and we'll be back Monday. And then it was like, we were so far from being anywhere near prepared. And I think I probably could have done a lot more beforehand because obviously like the balance of it was really hard because I have like a Twitch stream that I have to keep up to date every like day, basically. You have a 9 to 5 plus all your PTs plus helping me with my shit. So it was like for us to get anything done beforehand was kind of tricky because we obviously knew we were about to have this big chunk of downtime. So we wanted to like work as much as possible to get ahead of it. And then that meant we didn't do a lot of packing before. So
Also,
like the truck was there, we were still putting
mind,
stuff in boxes.
Yeah. In my mind, there's always the issue of having to work around needing stuff set up right until the last minute as well. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I
not like we
could
could
the gym
half
apart weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right. So exactly, your setup, my setup, we could have taken apart weeks before the move and it would have been much smoother. But that I think is the
Then we
main
couldn't
issue there.
work. Yeah, it's not like I could have my setup half pulled down because obviously there's like, you know, sponsors and things that pay to have their logos in view and particular pieces of tech that need to be in a specific spot and you know, be functioning as well. It's not like I can pull down and have no monitors or, you know, like one PC or it all, this whole setup is like a working machine that has to all be put together. So yeah. It was tricky.
Plus I suppose you got a new desk. So things had been set up differently on the other end and
Yep.
yeah. And then obviously going straight back into work, and then yourself having to be up and running means that while you're up and running, all the other stuff can't get unpacked either.
Yeah, and it had to be the week as well where fuel was like $2.80 a litre or whatever.
Oh my god! I don't think it'll dox us to say that. Yeah, I mean the one trip with the truck, I spent $60 in about 1.5 trips there.
And there was how many trips back and forth? 6.
Yeah.
Plus the cost of hiring the truck, plus the cost of the cleaner, and like all of that as well. On top of, you know, them being
So
like,
much.
hey, by the way, your house is making progress, so now we need more money, and we're just like, this is bad.
Well, that came a little after. That was, I suppose, the big
We knew it was
stresses
coming,
number
though.
one was. Yeah, big stress number one was, I suppose, just dealing with the delays and just the time frames with the building is the first one. But then you've got the move itself, and then on top of that, like, I mean, you've moved a lot of times. I haven't moved as many times, but still, I find it. Even now, I'm getting letters that I realize I need to go change the address with some other people, and we're getting letters from the old tenants here still, and it's like, oh, okay, they haven't changed it either. I know it's just so much.
Yeah, it was a lot.
How are you feeling?
It was a lot. It's just like thinking about it again. It's got me like, I mean, it's like stressing me out thinking about it all again.
Because it's not finished.
No, it's not.
Just the listeners out there, it's not finished. Definitely not. There's lots of plans. I think your space is kind of how you'd like it to be for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Save a few things like some extra lighting and things like that.
Yeah, a few things kind of like I used to have behind my shelves. I had like some just cheapy like eBay light strips, and in the move, a few things like when tensions get high. You're not too careful about moving some things, so some things got ripped off and some things got smashed to pieces. And
I guess when time frames were involved too.
Yeah, we had the returnal of the truck looming and borrowing people's cars and things like that. It's just like and we really didn't want to rely on anybody else. Like I really don't want to be that person that's like, can you help us move? Because it's freaking miserable, and I just don't want to put that on anybody. So we really did just like there was a couple people that helped out by taking rubbish and stuff like that, but we really didn't want to impose on anybody and be like, can you help us? Because we're very much like independent in you and I, like what we do. So we were kind of dead set on just doing it ourselves. And I think that was probably to our detriment a little bit because the time frame was real squeezy.
That being said, I've mentioned this, I think, in your stream, just in chat and stuff in passing, but it was funny that week that we unpacked, I saw a few, you know how Twitter gives you people you're not following, just some of those recommended things. Yeah. Relevant stuff. I did see a couple of large influencers that had moved house and they'd used moving services, and they were chronicling their unpacking and opening of everything that everyone else had moved for them and keeping a log of everything that had broken on the way. Basically saying, every box we open, someone's broken something, just because they someone else moving your stuff doesn't have the same care that moving your stuff does.
And I mean, we don't have a lot of, like, we have a lot of stuff, but it's kind of necessary stuff. Like, obviously, my room has a lot of stuff in it, but it's, it's for display purposes. It's for the purposes of a cool, like, aesthetically pleasing background and things like that. So everything that was within my setup, I was really cautious and like bubble wrapped everything. And I think that's probably as well why the packing took so long, is because everything was like meticulously packed to make sure it arrived safe. Like I packed my Big Daddy in like 2 layers of bubble wrap and a shirt to be doubly sure that bad boy didn't get broken. And I think there was only the cupboard that got broken, but that was very much on purpose.
That was a time.
Yeah, just Jeff Hulk. We've told that story a couple times, but I guess TLDR, I was undoing Jeff's cable management of his setup because it was a bit of an annoying thing, and Jeff was kind of doing the big stuff up and down the stairs. And so I was underneath the table, and we had this shitty shoe rack from IKEA, and it's always kind of been the bane of our existence. The cat's always breaking into it, and we put Velcro on it to try and stop them opening it, and then like chewing, or not like chewing, but like just scattering our shoes around the house, and chewing the laces and stuff. But this shoe rack was just a piece of crap, and there was a few things like that where we had bits of furniture where we were like, well, I don't really want this, but like, what are we going to do with it? We have to take it with us. And we actually did put the couch on the curb.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
And
seems like so
did someone take the...
There were two
TV
things.
cabinet?
There was the entertainment unit and a fold out sofa couch thing.
Did the entertainment unit get taken? I can't remember.
The entertainment unit got taken like the first night. That was super fast.
Yeah.
And that was a bit of a saga with the sofa, because the guys that grabbed the entertainment unit wanted the sofa bed thing, but then they were like, nah, we've measured it. It's not going to fit. Sorry, yada, yada, yada.
And then there's those people that wanted just the cover.
Oh my God. I
like
put
Gumtree people.
Yeah.
Or
It was
Marketplace.
either Gumtree, one of those two, but they're both as annoying to deal with as the other. and there were people just asking random stuff like, "Oh, hey, can you separate it into just the cover?"
Didn't they send a picture of their thing, and it wasn't the same? It was just a random thing, and it's like, bro, it's not gonna fit. It's like a perfectly fit one for a specific IKEA one. Again, IKEA furniture. We're just like, take this crap from us. I hate it.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But it was
and then
really cool.
The last second.
Oh man, it was literally the last day, and we were cleaning. Like
we were so stressed. We had to try and figure
cleaning.
out something to do with it too.
It was the greatest thing though. It was a combi van that rocked up. So it had half of it was painted with flowers and half of it was like seaside, and the undercoat was the same color blue as the actual sofa bed itself. And out popped a couple of like hippies with a dog, and they're like, "Oh, this is gonna be great for when we just put it in the back of here." And so I helped them carry it, and it was fantastic. It was almost like that perfect match. Yeah, it was really
they're
good.
gonna use it as like because they had like a van that they lived in, or a combi that they lived in.
Yeah,
it's gonna be their bed thing. It's so good.
Fold out bed. That was very cool.
Sorry about the cat hair. Just common cat hair.
They had the dog anyway, so that was very cool. Yep. So that
was one of those like moments. We just looked at each other like, oh thank God.
Nice.
Yeah, people in chat are noticing our meticulously crafted matching Gymshark outfits. Kind of. Jeff's got the purple and orange explosion, and I've got this is a Gymshark. These are both Gymshark, which Jeff is sponsored by. Go check out your Gymshark. I will say, just to get off topic, so impressed by, we bought a few things from Gymshark this week, and I haven't worn Gymshark leggings in a hot minute, and I remember way back before they got super big, I tried their leggings once and I wasn't that impressed with it, so I was kind of turned off from it. But that last lot that we got, holy crap, I'm so impressed. I reckon it's up there with like Lululemon, which Lululemon leggings are like $200 each. And these ones were like $80.
These are very affordable. Yeah,
very
they've
impressed.
Done some really good things. There was a talkie episode of FFP we did recently where we just trawled the website. We just had a quick look and checked out the new styling and the new products and whatnot. And yeah, similar thing that people have said to me. You know, they've been watching Gymshark for a while. It kind of had that reputation of a little bit of a gym bro vibe. Wasn't really their thing.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
Now, it's had some massive changes. They've got some really good teams. I think, to be honest, that was part of my joining the ambassadorship, was that they did have some new social disruption people join. That's what they call their team. And they've really stepped up their diversity and just the way that the quality of the product as well. So really good stuff.
Yeah, even for me, like as a not a tiny petite woman, like back in the day, all the models were like tiny waists with like these big Instagram butts and like big chests and stuff. And like I didn't feel like I fit into that market. So I was like, I'll buy the leggings, but they're not going to look that good on me. But now when you look at the models, they have such a wide spread of different bodies, and they'll show like 3 different people wearing it, be like, this person's a size 8, this person's a size 12, this person's a size 16. Here's how it looks on different bodies, and here's them squatting in it or doing like, a bench press or something to show it in motion as well, to be like, okay, this is more realistic of how it's actually going to look on my body. And I really appreciate that with brands like that.
It's not like those the upper class suits where they've got them pinned behind their back. Just
you can see the product actually how it's going to look.
Yeah.
Because that's always disappointing when you buy a product and you see it on this perfect model, and then you get it and you're like, oh, it doesn't look that good.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but yeah,
no, so
little aside, very impressive product.
Absolutely.
Is there anything you want to recap about 2021? Because our last episode 9 months ago, obviously, a lot happened in the end of that year. And is there anything you want to cover?
We're 4 months into this year now as well. So I'm realizing that 9 months ago, we were halfway through 2021.
Yeah.
And I remember at the end of 2020, we set a bunch of goals. Thinking back to it now, I hit the business goal, the FFP challenge goal. I'm pretty sure I got as many of those in that I was planning to.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But I suppose since then, there's been the updates with the house. There's been the updates with the move here. I'm just trying to think back. So many things have happened.
Yeah. I guess like, I know for me, with kind of the state of the, like, because obviously 2020 was pretty rough for everyone. I remember in 2021, it was kind of one of those things where I was like, let's not set any super hard, crazy goals because we're living in such uncertain times that we don't really know what is going to happen. So I do remember being quite lenient, I suppose, on ourselves, being like, let's not get too crazy. Funnily enough, like one thing that was one of our goals was Defiance, which was like pie in the sky kind of thing. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. People in chat are saying someone could have had a baby in the time since our last episode. Funnily enough,
Not
people
me.
probably have in this community. There has been a couple Grace Gang babies. But yeah, so in terms of like goals and achievements and things like that, I mean, we had a period from, and it kind of also ties into the house stuff. We had a period from like July to probably September where I think we didn't have a day off. Like we just busted our asses and like to the point of burnout. Like it was not advised, and it's not to try and glamorize it or anything. But for us, it was definitely crunch time. Like we had a goal that we had to meet for the deposit for the house. So I was taking on more sponsored work. You were taking on more of your job stuff and more PTs and doing more programs like privately and challenge things. So we were just like from, 6 a.m. till 11 p.m. we were just on like working so much. And it paid off. Like we obviously, the house is in motion. So obviously it paid off. But oh man, a few days I was...
That was a big thing, wasn't it? Because I remember I think it was October where you said, hey, let's not book anything for November.
Because of horror month, yeah.
Yeah, and the problem is, it's not the problem. This is kind of the reality we live in, is that because of the contractual type work that we're in, like the agreements as in there's the next 6 months or the next year, there are some obligations to be met, and then things kind of pop up and you do them as they're needed. That's kind of what happened there. There was just things like that. So I'm pretty sure we did follow the rule in that we didn't take on any new contracts, agreements, et cetera, et cetera.
And I actually ended up backing out of a couple because I was like, I'm having a nervous breakdown. I can't perform. Like I don't ever want to do something for half-ass. And there was one that I was really upset about having to turn away. But every time I thought about it, I just started getting like panic attacks. I was like, I can't handle this anymore. It's so easy to overcommit yourself as well, because you're like, if that's future Grace's problem, like, I can do 7 things in this week. That's completely fine. And stream 40 hours still, like, that's totally doable. And then you get to the moment where you have to do it and you're like, oh my God, what did I do? I'm freaking stressed.
And I suppose the position that I'm in, where I'm often doing a lot of the management type communications for you as well.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to know is that when you do, I suppose, have that upfront comms with someone, or you do have that honest conversation saying, look, the reason why we're backing out of these things, or the reasons why we have to sort of go back and either cancel this or postpone it, really to do with like the mental health aspect, the burnout aspect. And the response is great. It was actually...
I was so impressed. I think it's fine to talk about who it was, because I think it really speaks to like the quality of the communication and the brand. It was Adobe. There was a thing that I was meant to do with Adobe, who I have worked with before, and that's why this opportunity came up. And I've been using Adobe since I was in high school. Like I've used the Creative Suite forever for graphic design and video editing and everything, and I really love their products. And there was this huge piece, I won't say specifically, but it was like a huge piece of content with like a film crew coming to my setup and doing this big piece and everything, and I was like really excited about it. But the timing was awful, and I wasn't sure that if they came that I would like keep my shit together. So I was like, I just can't do it. Like I have to stop. And they were like, they did not push at all. They just took it. They were like, that's so like such a shame, because we were really stoked to work with you. But obviously like her mental health comes first. And like that really just made me feel good, because I was like, I'm so sorry. But the fact they went like, oh, what an idiot. Like couldn't even handle, a day of filming or whatever. But
yeah. Which is important as well. I don't know if anyone out in PR land or in that sort of business where you are putting out requests of people, I suppose you gotta understand, because there were times there when you would get a request come in and say, hey, can you turn this around in 24 hours? And like, what?
Yeah.
Come on.
It does feel like sometimes people think influencers, and I'm sure there are some influencers out there, but like a professional person like myself who's been in this industry now for 10 years this year, I'm not just sitting around with like my finger in my butt. Like I'm busy and I pre-plan weeks ahead. Like I need 2 weeks notice at least.
Yeah. Or at
especially
least,
if
like
it's
a brief and say, hey, there's something coming up. Maybe keep a day free.
Yeah.
Sometime.
If it's like a stream, cool. But if it's like a produced piece of content where either someone's coming to film me or I have to film it and edit it and produce it, I need time, man. Like my schedule's full.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's interesting too, because what came to mind, and this might be something we can talk about a bit later, just in sort of content that we've been taking in, because there's a lot that's changed in 9 months. We've watched some stuff, and we've started some new series and whatnot.
Yeah.
But one thing in one of the podcasts that you and I are both listening to is the Creatures of the Night. There, I'm catching it while you're listening to it.
Yeah.
In that, the difference between, and I suppose I'll generalize by saying male, female, but it could be really anyone in the situation. When I think about me going to stream as opposed to yourself going to stream, there's a lot more prep required in things like just makeup and whatnot, which you can't really just drop the hat and go, okay, we'll go live in 20 minutes. It just doesn't really happen like that. So same for if someone requests can you do a stream or can you do this piece of filming tomorrow? It's like, well, is that going to fit into how the rest of the day was planned as well?
Yeah, because that's like my I guess facade and persona, I suppose. Like I am me on stream, but it is kind of, an exaggerated version, which I've said a million times. Like I'm not this intense all the time when I'm just hanging out at home. And, the makeup ritual is kind of part of that, because it kind of helps me get like my game face on and helps me prepare to like put that show on and put that like confidence, I suppose, forwards. And I just feel more comfortable and on, I suppose, with like the makeup face or whatever. And I do plan weekends most of the time to just not have any makeup on, because it's a lot of effort. It takes me like an hour and a half, and I like to give my skin a break on the weekends as well. And I'm fine, like I go out in public with no makeup on, no worries. And to be honest, I kind of like it because it's almost like a mask in itself, because I look a bit different. So I'm like, I can just hide behind no makeup face. And it's, like for someone to be like, oh, hey, can you like, go around and can you film this thing by tomorrow? It's like, well, I'd actually plan to not have any makeup on tomorrow. And like, it's a whole thing. And I just wanted to have like a chill day where I can just, be me in my skin. And it is a lot of effort. Yeah. It's especially in the days where, someone drops on me, we need this film tomorrow. I'm like, well, tomorrow I plan to be a ghoul, so that's probably not going to work out too well.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm gonna need more time than that. But
the reason why I thought of it with that podcast in mind there was that obviously the drag the drag
takes them like 4 hours.
3 to 4 hours just to get ready for a show, right? So it's a lot to it.
Yeah,
which is fantastic. I want to try a bit of that stuff, to be honest.
That's something I guess we can. If we wanted to talk about, like, trying to think of 2021. Besides, it's just a blur, to be honest, because it was so much. It really is. Just so much working and keeping all the sponsors happy. And I mean, the biggest thing for me that happened last year probably would be the exclusive Twitch deal, which
did you want to talk, like, did you want to explain that? Because I know there's still going to be people that will look at it and say, well, I thought you were always on Twitch as their response. But like the why that's special, the exclusivity part of it. Yeah.
So, I mean, being a Twitch partner, technically you're only to stream on Twitch at the same time. So you could stream on Twitch on one day and then the next day stream on YouTube and keep the content separate. And you're 100% allowed to do that within a Twitch contract for a regular partner. You just can't multi-stream out to multiple platforms, which they might be changing now, but that's all hearsay. So I'm not really going to comment on that yet. But being an exclusive Twitch partner means I only live stream on Twitch. And I'm given like a guaranteed, I guess, revenue for the year. So I know what I'm going to make from Twitch this year and the next. And that has taken an immense amount of pressure off of me, worrying about subs and donations and things like that, which every streamer has to worry about. And now I don't have to. I mean, that in itself, having a contract with a company, And being able to show that to the banks helped us also get the house.
It was massive part of, I think, that forward planning, just getting a mortgage, getting a loan, that sort of stuff.
And beyond beyond the money side of things, it also is just like another level of validation from Twitch that they trust me to like represent the platform, because you're not just a Twitch partner. You're not just, you met the requirements, cool, have a tick. This is like, no, you're legit. Like, we want you exclusively on the platform and we're going to like make it worth your while kind of thing. So I think just having that extra level of validation, which I've had from, working with Telstra and working with Red Bull and now having Twitch like backing me fully, was a massive achievement from 2021. And yeah, probably the biggest one from last year for me.
100%. That's fantastic. It's because I know a lot of people will see just the partner and go, oh, well, there are a lot of partners out there.
Yeah.
But it's not quite an ambassador. Ambassadors is slightly different as well, but it is that level, an extra level above partner, like you said, that you've got the backing of Twitch. You've got Twitch basically almost like a semi-permanent, not really an employee, but you're a semi-permanent contract with those guys. So it's very, very cool. Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. So yeah, I suppose that was another big part of 2021.
What about for you? What was your if you think back to the year, what's your big wah moment?
Wah. I don't think it's been a gradual climb. I don't think there's been any big pinnacles or mountains that I've gone over the top of just yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's getting ever so much closer to having that full-time, I'm not going to say full-time content creator, because I think for someone like me with what I've got on my plate, I think
it's
the
not
content
be
creation,
content. Yeah.
No, it'll be that'll be a smaller part of the bigger whole of, I suppose, the fitness and wellness machine that FitForPurpose is.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of it's going to be, number one, having the streams in the mornings and just having the reach, and I suppose the marketing, you could call it, the marketing for the business in the mornings. But then also
just
having
the library of workouts and stuff.
The library, exactly.
Yeah.
So that sort of thing, just having the, that's probably a good one. I can say that in 2021 I built up a library of 8 months worth of daily workouts. That's a big one.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So if you were to come to my channel, take a look at the VODs, put one on each day, every day, one after the other, you'd have 8 months worth of workouts there. So it's pretty
for free,
massive.
not behind a paywall.
Yeah.
Although it should be, I feel like, but I hate sub-only VODs because
I can't.
I can't often catch people live, and the fact that people, I kind of understand why people do it, but I think it's definitely to their detriment, and they probably don't think about how detrimental it can be, because if you can't catch a live stream and you can't look at the content to see if it's worth looking more into for free, then what, I'm instantly gone. I find you on Twitter and then I see your stream and I'm like, cool, let's go check out their channel. And then I'm like, I can't look at it without paying for it. That's a bit of a bummer. It's okay to have, Patreon or any kind of whatever behind a paywall if it's exclusive content to that. But the fact that I can't even see anything that you make without paying for it first is a real turn off.
I don't go out of my way to think that, you know what, that's something I'm not going to visit that person because they're behind a paywall. But to be honest, it's too much trouble. I'll see that come up if I'm looking at it, and I'll just be like, all right, I'll go about my day and do something else. And
this is already too hard.
Yeah, it's in the too hard basket. They could be worth it, absolutely, but just the fact that I might not be on at the same time. I for one know all about people wanting to join and do my workouts, but just having the time zone issue. So people are on the other side of the world.
Sure. You can never suit everyone's time zone.
And if I can't catch someone live just to see what they're like, then I'm really not likely to actually pay for a sub just to see the odds, to be honest.
Apparently, Nate said now there's an obnoxious pop-up with info on subscribing if you click on someone's VODs that's sub-only.
That is sub-only? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think... I think people like to think that it would make people subscribe, but I don't think it does. I think it does the opposite.
Yeah, I'd like to see analytics. I really would, because I suppose I think about this as well. My viewing habits and your viewing habits will be much different to
the average consumer. Yeah.
And whether or not that is of a higher value to someone that isn't a streamer, potentially. But
it's hard enough to get people to go click a YouTube video, let alone subscribe to watch a VOD. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't. Right. I can't ever see it being worth it personally. I mean, if you were someone huge, like if you had a 10 million followers or something, it might be a cash cow maybe, but at that point you don't even need to make something.
Is it granular? Can you put a collection behind a sub wall, or is it just all
I think
VODs?
It's on or off. I could be wrong. Okay. If it was a tiered thing, for sure. Especially for you, like if you had, 12-week program all filmed behind a $5 paywall, then 100%.
Yeah.
But
I was just thinking that would enable me to drop my training app potentially and just deliver it over Twitch. But yeah, we digress.
Put it on the user voice. Pitch it. Be like, come on.
Yeah, actually. Yeah.
It could be valuable for a lot of people. Like hide it if you want something that's, tier 3 sub and it's a 12-week program fully fleshed out.
Yeah. So this collection is tier 2. This collection is tier 3. Okay, sweet. Yeah, and so it's good that you mentioned there. Put it on the user voice, because in this world of Twitter and online,
you're not just gonna tweet at them yelling in capitals or replying to everything they post, complaining.
There's a really good way to go about things. And I suppose slightly on topic as well, the training app that I use for my training programs recently implemented 2 updates that did follow on 2 of my requests. So there was the
amazing.
Landscape mode for larger than iPhone devices and Garmin integration. So it's all in.
Hell yeah. It's amazing what happens when you go through the correct channels of pitching ideas and things. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that was the thing. I suppose 2021. That's growing. That's moving on. And I mean, there's already things this year which are being done to help push that in the right direction as well. So
yeah, it's been a bit of a rough start, I suppose. Just the move was a lot and threw a bit of a spanner, and especially for you with a bit of a longer. It's not even a longer commute. It's just different timings on things and different requirements from your job at the moment. And it's maybe that's not a topic for the podcast. It's a whole thing.
That's the tier 2 paid sub podcast. Yeah.
Do you want to move into house updates and something positive?
Oh, yeah. We can talk a little bit more in detail about that now, right?
Cool.
That's fun. Let's do it. Let's switch it over.
Cool. So if you haven't been around and you don't know any of the news from 9 months ago, TLDR, Jeff and I have purchased a bit of dirt, bit of land.
Yep.
And our bit of dirt has a bit of concrete on it now.
They dug a little hole in it.
Yeah. Not a little hole. It's freaking huge. Freaking huge.
I don't know how much it'll. Yeah, I'm trying to think about what we can say without doxing things. Yeah. But I mean, it happens in a lot of places. When Grace says that it's a big hole, it's a deeper than usual foundation. Number one, because we have to have our underground Lamborghini car park and
my 10-car garage underneath all of my cars all in bubbles. Got to look after the Bugatti and the Murcielago.
It's reactive soil. So when you do build a house, and I hope this is something that if you're in the market in the future sometime to be looking at a house, always stick like 50 to 60 grand in the back pocket just as a contingency plan. Because that's one thing we noticed. There was immediately a big old variation because of the soil. So they had to dig.
And a few other factors.
And a few other things, but they had to dig the foundations to 3. It was like 2.5 times deeper than standard. So it's gonna be strong.
And that's just something that you can't really it will just happen or it won't, and it's not something you're gonna skimp on because it's literally the foundation for the entire house. So it's like, no, we'll just just not worry about that. And then your house crumbles to the ground in a year.
It's just leaning over. It's fine. So
Yeah, it's just leaning casa.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was annoying when it came back, and that's happened a couple times with the house build. I think for anyone looking to get into it, obviously at the moment it's a rough time for the housing market, whether it's renting or buying or
everything in Adelaide. Yeah,
renting especially here is abysmal, and we were so fortunate to get anything, which that probably should have talked about that earlier, but we probably applied for 30 plus places.
That was one of the massive stresses as well. And I think I've blocked that out of my mind. There was like 3-4 weeks where I was trying to work funny hours because I was taking hours off in the day to go and do inspections, like open inspections for rentals. And it would be the worst time of the day because I would be going out there trying to find a park on a full street and then in a line with like 30 to 40 other people at every single one of these places. And then obviously because Grace streaming, I'd be there filming it on my phone and I'd be making folders in my Dropbox with all the information for each of these separate things. And
like
it was just
doing video walkthroughs.
It was an administrative nightmare and just a morale nightmare as well, because every time I went to them, I'd be looking around going, oh, those people look nicer than me.
And they probably don't have 3 cats. We're gonna have to try and get 3 cats in this freaking rental. And the crazy thing is as well, like we had the luxury of obviously with what I do, being able to do it from home. I was like, we can live anywhere in the whole state. Like it doesn't really matter as long as it's, not too far for you to commute to work. We could live anywhere. So we literally were applying to like all over the freaking state, basically. And the only way we got what we got is because we knew the agent, or we knew someone who knew the agent. And it's like we were offering, $20, $30, $40 extra a week for most of the places as well. So like not only were the rentals all probably overpriced what they are, we were offering more on top of that and still not even getting it. Like, oh my God, it was the worst. So that sucks. So I look forward to after this never having to fucking rent again, hopefully.
Correct. That's a big piece of it.
But yeah, that was obviously just an aside. But so now renting here and having the house with progress is cool. But we got an email last week that's like, just FYI, everything's hella delayed in everything construction. So don't get your hopes up, basically, for any swift build. Which we've got this place for 12 months at least. I think we'll
the main thing
probably need it for more.
I spoke to the liaison person. The main long wait that you'll usually get is just waiting for the timber to rock up, because that all kind of has to arrive at the same time. You can't really have half a frame and then do other stuff. It's all like you need the whole frame there ready to go. So that's the big one. But then once the frame's on, chuck the roof on, do all the cladding and whatnot, and it goes
chuck it on.
Quickly. Just chuck it on, mate. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep thinking like prior to when we saw the footings and the concrete and stuff, it was such an annoying process because we started it last year in April and it's April now and we're only just now seeing anything that we can actually see getting done. So up until this point, it's really been frustrating from our perspective because we're the type of people that if there's something to do, we just get it done. But this is all completely out of our hands. Like the second we get paperwork, we've both co-signed it and it's already back with the people and it's like, okay, now what? Like, what can we do next? But it's been a lot of just sitting on our hands, waiting for people to do stuff and, delays like the valuator person just slacking off and being like, I can't access the property, which sets it back a month because literally it's just an open street with no gates and like they just drove past in holiday mode.
I remember that.
And that delayed us for like a month.
It was a day before a long weekend and the broker said, hey, we're just waiting for the valuator to come back. And then like got a message saying, oh, the valuator said that it's not accessible. And like we were just there.
We were there. It's not
all open.
Yeah. And we checked there the weekend of to make sure. And there was no, unless there was an act of God and there was like a tree in the middle of the street or something. Which there's no trees there. It was ridiculous. Like,
so they just
things
knocked
like that
off early and
have really been annoying and stressful. Because obviously before we'd landed this place, we had that timeline looming of like, you know, because eventually when we first started the process, they were like, you know, it can only take sometimes, you know, 5 or 6 months for it to happen. So you never know. And it's like, it's now there and we've only just gotten the bloody footings dug. Like the timelines, if you're ever going to do this process, do not listen to their timeline. If I can give you any advice, allow for them to fuck up and probably be $60,000 to $100,000 under budget.
You know
because
what I've noticed
someone
as well?
loses a page of something, or someone forgets to put in the insulation, or you know, stupid shit like that should not be happening.
And there's a couple of things, like if for anyone that works in the building industry, I'm not throwing any shade or anything here, but one thing that you notice, or one thing that I've noticed, is that there are a lot like new positions that have been built, like customer service liaison type people.
Yeah.
Which number one, I think it's good because it means that there's always someone to talk to, but it also shields responsibility from people. So the reason why I say that is that when you go from one part of the process to the next, if someone had made a massive mistake in the previous process, then you don't actually speak to them. When
It's just getting handballed around, and it's like,
it gets
who are we
handballed
mad
all
at?
around the place. Exactly. So I always feel bad when they, like, I mean, the person that calls and says, "Oh, sorry, Jeff, I've got to let you know that there's extra money to add to this," and I'm like, I want to get angry at you, but I know it's not you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So it's strange. It's a strange one. Timelines, don't listen to them. And the other thing is as well, a lot of them, especially at the beginning of the process too, they're driven by the back pocket. They're driven by finances as well. So when they do close the deal, they get commissions on that. So a lot of the time they're just trying to push it forward as fast as they can. Like selling a car, like selling anything, to be honest. So,
I mean, it's in their best interest for it to be swift as well, but I think it's important, if they're not setting realistic expectations, that you at least try to manage your own. And it's really hard, obviously, because it's like, I mean, for us, we're building our dream home basically, and like our dream space to work from too. So it's like, it's not just a house, it's also where we're going to spend all of our time working.
Yeah.
So for us, it's like, I feel like we're kind of in this limbo, like in between us being in the spaces that we want to further our content and to make our content really high production of what we want to be making. Like for me, this room's cool, but the new one's going to be a little bit bigger, and I'm going to have room for like my green space. I'm going to have room for a second setup for VR and all that kind of stuff. So I feel like I'm in this in between of fighting. Like I'd really love to do that content, but it's probably going to be better if I wait and do it in a year, which is like, it's just this weird feeling of like not being 100% where I want it to be, but because it's also going to drive all that, I'm like, just build it faster.
Yeah. And similar for me, because I lost a lot of client base moving.
Yeah.
And the thing in the back of my mind is that, do I want to start building up some relationships here just to have to move in a year's time?
Yeah. Because people in Adelaide, there's a thing about people in Adelaide, right? And this is kind of shady, but kind of not. If it's further than 20 minutes, they're like, oh, it's too far. Oh,
it was literally
so far.
Literally what one of my clients said. Yeah. Yeah, it's now longer than 20 minutes for me, so it's a long drive. Like,
and like I get it, if you, especially with the gym, like people will find any excuse not to go work out. So if it's any further than, you know, down the road, they're like, that too hard. And how many times get that? But
I was gonna say there are gyms on every corner, but there are still people that just don't go to them. So,
dude, I used to drive an hour and a half to get to base camp. It's 6 a.m. And we qualify for world champs. Like, if you want it bad enough, you fucking drive however long it takes to get to that trainer that's going to make you fit or strong or whatever. But just stop making excuses. You can, like, and we're in this golden age of audio media. Like, there's so many good podcasts. There's so much good music always getting released. Like, if you have to be in your car for an hour, you can learn something. Listen to us talk. Like one person that's driving, like listening to this is like, that's me. I'm talking to you, Brian. I don't know.
Gary. Yeah, you.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, well, that's there's not much more in terms of the house updates that we can add. The design's the same. A couple of little things had to be changed just in terms of they forgot to put a sewage pipe in somewhere. But
and the aircon void
Yeah,
that they wanted
the
to put
aircon
in the most
void and
bizarre place. I'm like, don't put it there. Why? It's like, let's put it right in the middle of the friggin' living room or whatever it was.
Would you
I was
live in that house, Brian? Would you put your house there,
seriously,
Brian?
mate. Like, yeah, just some very questionable. Like, I get that, you know, it's the 20th house they've dealt with this week and they don't give a shit about what it looks like or whatever. But for us, it's like our everything. And we're like, no, do not do that.
Yeah.
And then if you want to make any changes to the plans, it's like $700 every single time something gets messed up. And it's just, you're just watching your money go in the fryer. It's like, Jesus. And for me, like, this is the first time I've been in debt in my life. So I'm in such a strange industry as well. Like, I've positioned myself with my channel in a way that I, again, don't rely on subscriptions and donations to like survive, because I think that's a really bad way to go about it and very, very not smart from a business standpoint, which I do have like my background in business to lean on, which is great. Like, I don't remember what I was going with this point.
The financial side, this is the first time you've been in debt.
Oh yeah, like so like being in debt is terrifying, especially when, I mean, it's good debt in a way, because obviously there's going to be a house at the end of it, and if anything detrimental was to happen, we could just sell it and like get our money back and whatever. But it's always just like this a bit of a pit there all the time, being like, shit, but I can't just, this is the thing now. And I'm probably preaching to the choir of like, because our audience is kind of mature, right? Most people are
mature audience,
adults with homes and things and whatever. But I'm just like, oh my God, this is so scary.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything else you can think of that is relevant to the house convo? I think it's mainly covered. I think it's good to let people know that it's moving ahead. We've got some progress. In terms of timeframes, if I were to say something, it would be as inaccurate as the people telling me it. So I don't think we can make any calls on that.
It could be 12 months. It could be 18. It could be more. We don't know. Who knows? I don't really care how long it takes at this point. Now that we have this, it's probably likely that we can probably extend it if we need to. And with how crazy and competitive the market is, I don't doubt that if by some miracle it was done before our lease is up here, that we could find someone to fill this lease, because it's a great house in a great spot and it's like reasonably priced. So yeah, I guess now that we have this place and we're pretty comfy here, I don't really care how long it takes. I just want it to be done well. It's kind of like every game that we ever talk about. It's like, I don't care how long it takes to develop it. Just do it right the first time, please.
Right.
And then I'll play it when it's done. I'll move in when it's done and it's nice and ready. So
100%.
Yeah, no rush.
Yeah. Nice.
It was very surreal standing on that concrete though and being like, this is where the gem's going to be. This is where my office is going to be. This is where the cat's going to poop. And this is going to be where their little enclosure is. And like, cute.
Like looking at the photo that you took of me next to it, and then just like zooming in on the size of me. Like,
probably not something. I don't know. I do want to share stuff with people, but also obviously privacy is like a huge thing, and all it takes is one person to be like, I know where that is, and then it's like out there. So we kind of just want to keep that to ourselves. Soz. But I mean, we can always, once it's done, obviously we can show the inside and do a bit of a toury type thing without showing anything that we're not comfortable sharing. So yeah,
correct. That's cool.
Shall we talk about, it's already been an hour, my goodness.
Long one.
Shall we talk about the fitness events that we've got?
Let's do that. Flick the topic over. There we go. Fitness events.
Yeah. House tour. Let me triangulate the angle of the sun, and that tree is native to a certain area, pretty much.
Yeah.
So fitness.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on.
So at the moment,
what do you want to start with?
The first thing I guess we'll talk about is Wings for Life, because that is quite topical. It's currently May, and that is the month. Oh, sorry, no, it's April. It's April 30th actually, but May is Wings for Life time. So on May 8th, there is a global race that I think is the biggest running race event in the world, because it is global and it happens at the same time all over the world. So Wings for Life, if you don't know what it is a rather unique event. So you start the race. For us in Australia, or in Adelaide, it's like 8:30 p.m. So different start. I mean, same start time in the world, different time zones, obviously. So So you start the race, and then 30 minutes after it starts, a catcher car takes off and starts to chase you. And it's your goal to run as far as you can until it catches you. It doesn't mow you down or anything. And it's not always a physical car. There are some events. They have their flagship runs, which we actually attended. Which was it?
May
Melbourne?
2018? Sorry, Melbourne 2018.
2018. We took part in the actual run there, which was like the coolest thing ever. They shut down the highways and we all ran, and everyone had their little torches on their heads. So you look behind you, it was just all these little lights like bobbing around behind you. It was so cool. And it's to support spinal cord research. So it's in collaboration with Wings for Life and like the charity Wings for Life and Red Bull. So this is our 4th year. And we're going to be at the Adelaide app run. So it's an app on your phone. You can sign up. Anyone can sign up. It's like $15, I think, to sign up. And it's all the proceeds go towards the charity. The app run that we're going to be at is in Victoria Park in Adelaide. And you just start, and there's like a voiceover thing that's like, you're doing great. You're 2 kilometers in. Well done. And then you can have your music playing in the background or whatever. And then it'll be like, the car is taken off. Go, go, go. Like just little motivational things. Then it will tell you when the car catches you and then give you like your post-race wrap up of how far you ran.
Yeah, if you've ever played Zombies Run or any sorts of virtual race apps, it's very similar to that in that, you start off, it gives you updates as to how far away the catcher car is, and then it tells you when to stop running, gives you your final details, etc. So it's pretty cool. So there's also, if you are someone that has a Garmin watch, there is a Wings for Life app on that. I think it's for training. I don't think it's for the actual app run itself. So if you do just want to at some point simulate what it's like to, you can actually stick it on because it calculates it. It's quite mathematical. You can figure out how far you're going to run. I always wondered about the drivers of those catcher cars when they do have a catcher car. You got to be pretty accurate and pretty on top of your speed and pacing on that.
Because it gets faster and faster, or does it go one speed?
It does. No, it gets faster and faster. So it's
cruise control
up. Yeah. So yeah, it's kind of cool.
It's really cool. And it's really motivating as well for a lot of reasons, like just being at an event in general, having people around you. I think for me, that really helps me because I do struggle to run like consistently without stopping. But if I have someone to chase, like I'll usually just pick someone in front of me and be like, I'm going to stay with them. And if they stop, then I'm going to pick somebody else in front of them and then chase them kind of thing, just to keep me on top of it and accountable to be like, I can run, like I shouldn't be stopping. So that helps me. And also just the general vibe, like the whole point for the race is to support people and like help raise funds for spinal cord research. So I think just being there and seeing all the people that are there for the cause just kind of gives you like that restoration of humanity kind of vibe.
Yeah. You're all on a pretty similar wavelength there.
Yeah, it's really cool.
On top of that, it tends to be a lot of fitness type people there, which are pretty positive to begin with. So it's very good vibe on those events.
Yeah, and there's a very low barrier to entry. If you just want to walk the whole time, it's completely cool. There is no pressure. You're only like racing yourself basically. So don't feel like I can't do that. I can't run for, whatever amount of time. You don't need to run. You can walk, you can roll, you can run, you can do whatever you want to do. Just showing up and showing support is really what it's all about.
Absolutely.
And we've raised $3,730 USD. So as of yesterday, we just pushed over 5,000 Australian dollars raised for spinal cord research. So give yourselves a little clap on the back, little pat on the back for supporting an amazing cause. That means a lot to all of us, I think.
Big part of that as well was what we did last week on Strem, which was a 6-hour relay run, which two things, raised a hell of a lot of money for the charity, just the aforementioned charity, but also was your longest run in one session in your life, correct?
Yeah, we made history.
Yeah,
it
27 kilometers.
I'm still kind of sore, I'm not gonna lie. My hips are still not right. I need to do some more stretching, but yeah, it was again like having that, like running on your own for me. I do struggle to push myself when I'm on my own. Like I'm always trying to be better and encourage myself to do more, I suppose, but like, you know, having chat there, first of all, having everyone watching, knowing that Red Bull was watching, knowing that we're there for charity, like they were all external factors of motivation that was like, I gotta keep going. I don't want to stop, because if I start walking, then like chats can be disappointed. Or not that you guys would, but you know, it had that external accountability, I suppose, that kept me going. So yeah, I managed to run 27.69 kilometers, which is like 6 more kilometers than I've ever run in my life.
Fantastic.
And you did what, 30?
I did 30.04 or something, 30.4 something.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Which is good.
It was crazy. It was such a good stream, and it kind of, something that we've wanted to do is do more like collaborative fitness stuff. And we've kind of been toying with the idea of how to do that with, you know, squad streaming, because obviously we both have partner channels, and cross promoting from my channel to FitForPurpose and vice versa is going to be a good way for us to both, like, you know, benefit off of each other's existing chats, I suppose, and streams. So that's probably something we're going to work on in the future.
Also importantly, it'll give you a chance to get some training in your actual week as well.
Totally. It's really hard, like with a very full-time streaming schedule. Like it's not just, like you said before, I don't just wake up and jump on stream. I wake up and there's, you know, 2 hours of prep, getting the stream organized, getting myself organized, hanging out with the cats, having breakfast, blah, blah, blah. Like there's, you know, if I stream for 8 hours, that's an 11-hour process. Or like, what is it? 8. There's like, 10 and a half hour process.
It's a big day.
And then there's, you know, post-stream wrap up, and then there's, you know, having to organize food and actually have a life. And then it's like, when do I train? I've already been awake for 12 hours. Like it's tricky. So in order for us to prepare for our next event, which we'll get into shortly, we really do need to amp up the training.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a good way to do it. If we know, do we do a co-op fitness stream every Friday and do like freaking 5-6 hour workout, then that's going to be immense in helping with the training for Defiance. Hey,
who's heard of Red Bull Defiance? That's,
me.
Grace has. I think we were first introduced to it a few years back. Red Bull obviously gave you the idea, or said, hey, there's this thing that happens. How would you feel about going in for it? And things didn't really align the first time.
We've always been looking for a big thing with Red Bull to do from a fitness side. There was that one somewhere in Europe. Do you remember the castle?
Was it Austria? The castle? The castle?
It was like a big OCR thing
Belgium.
in
I think it was
castle
Belgium.
that looked so cool, but the travel was just a bit unrealistic.
Those sorts of things are a bit gnarly. But Red Bull Defiance is a... Did you want to have a chat about this, or would you like to move me to...
You can lead it. That's cool.
Explain a little bit.
Yeah.
It's an adventure race. So most people know different types of races. You can say, hey, a marathon or a half marathon. That's running for a certain distance. You can talk about an Ironman or a triathlon, which is generally your cycling, running, and swimming. Those three. An adventure race is a little bit of a newer type of sport, but generally adventure races involve trail running, mountain biking, and kayaking. So in true Red Bull fashion, they've got an adventure race, which they've added their own spin to. So also involves whitewater rafting, abseiling, and a mystery event.
My heart's like racing. Just even thinking about abseiling and whitewater rafting. Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's in addition to the standard mountain biking, trail running. In this instance, it's actually beach running, and it's beach mountain biking.
Yeah.
And then open water kayaking, trail run around an island, open water kayak back. And this actually takes place across multiple stages over 2 days. So it's a 48-hour race in total. So, that's happening in August this year up in northern Queensland in Australia.
Yeah.
Which means we've got a bit of training to do, because it is a partner event. It's a two-person mixed team event. So you can have whatever gender you like in a team. Few things, you have to be within close proximity of each other. I'm not exactly sure what it is. I'm pretty sure it's 100 feet with each person.
So if I crash and burn, Jeff doesn't get to finish. He can't just
do not finish.
cruise off and finish for us. It's like if we don't both cross the line, we don't cross the line at all.
Correct. So if she crashes, she's getting in my backpack and I'm carrying her across the line.
I don't know if that's
how it's gonna
allowed.
go.
I think I have to be on my feet.
No, I think you can cross. Like, but if
Really?
you say no, I'm out, then I'm
Oh,
also out.
okay.
Yeah.
I would
yeah.
never. I have to die before I bail.
Yeah,
I'm not
it'll
going to
be
do
fine.
that. So yeah, that's
that's
the thing.
in August,
Mm.
which means there's a little bit of which is important because it's relevant in what Grace mentioned there, getting some extra training time in around streaming schedule and around our busy schedules. This sort of a thing, endurance events, like when you look at and this is I'm not trying to be funny about it, but I am quietly confident that most people in either of our chats right now, if push came to shove, you'd be able to finish a half marathon.
Yeah,
you'd be able
totally.
to cover 21 kilometers. There might be some dramas. I was going to say no dramas, but there might be some dramas, but you would be able to cover that. This sort of a
It might
race,
take a
when
minute, but you'd get
exactly.
there eventually.
Yeah. This sort of a race, Iron Man, Iron Woman events, adventure races, and ultra marathons, they're not really the type of event you can just roll up to. You do need an endurance training, so you need to be able to number one, train your bones, your sinews, and your muscles to be pushing, right? But you also need to be training your mind, because you think about the last time you woke up not feeling like you wanted to go to work, and it was easy enough just to say, I'm not going to work, and you call your boss or you let everyone know that you need to, and you just don't go. Whereas this time, you're actually pushing your body to the absolute limits on day one. You're going to get the worst sleep. You're going to feel awful the next day.
Yeah.
And you now have to push your body to the limits again.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of
Because it's not just one day.
It's 2 days.
It's 2 days.
It's 2 days. Yeah, correct.
That's probably the thing
Correct.
that I'm the most concerned about, is because I've done some huge things. Like we've done world champs. I mean, I guess that was multiple days.
Yeah, because the team event was on the day after the main
Well,
race.
we did the first day as well.
Yep.
The super short, easy 6K that took me like friggin' 3 hours. And then the full event, and then the race afterwards, like the team race afterwards. So yeah, I guess, I don't know. It's just the scale of the event and the fact that it's back-to-back days. I get very intense soreness from workouts. And for example, the day after the running stream, I was pretty much out of commission. So
I was running up and down the hallways.
Yeah, he definitely was. That's definitely something I need to work on, because I'm just severely undertrained at the moment. As mentioned, our schedules have been out of control over the last few months, and my fitness has definitely taken a back seat, and that's no secret. So over the next 3-4 months, we're definitely gonna have to ramp that up a lot, and that's again why we want to bring more content on both the channels with just really long workouts.
Absolutely.
Oh, I thought I turned those off. So I was just out of alerts coming
What's
off.
up? Alerts, yeah.
So yeah, multi-day event, multiple disciplines. We've got some mountain bikes on the way. I've never ridden a mountain bike. I can ride a bike, but have never done like downhill or big climbs.
You haven't
or anything
returned
like
back to your bike since the last incident.
Yes, I
either,
have.
So have you?
Yeah, I took the pedals off and changed the pedals, and we went for rides.
We did a couple of yeah.
But yeah, I sacked my bike real bad on the road when I used clip-ins for the first time, and vowed to never use clip-ins again because it scared the crap out of me. Like actually a bit of trauma from that. So I ripped those pedals off and put the different ones on and got back on it. But I feel like for a long time with all the stuff that we did, like OCRs and big trail runs and rides and stuff, I felt really fearless for a long time. And then that happened and I just got really shaky, and then the pandemic came, and I just feel like I'm so pathetic at the moment. So I think Defiance is definitely going to be like a huge test of will, and just getting back into that, not fearless. Like obviously I understand that I'm a mortal human with flesh and bones that can be broken and whatever. So I know that I'm not invincible, but I think just getting back to a point where I feel a little less scared of everything again would be nice.
Funnily enough, one of the podcasts I recently listened to, there was a TV show actually hosted by Tim Ferriss called Fearless, and one of the people he did speak to was the Red Bull psychologist.
Yeah,
that did actually speak to some of the Red Bull high performers in terms of, overcoming the fear of certain things in the lead up to events. So it's you talking about yourself going through this wanting to be fearless again. Everyone is susceptible to that feeling. Like even the top performing Red Bull athletes, and there are ways to work around it as well. So it's
for sure.
It's
I mean, I have done it before. Like the World Champs was probably, and for those that don't know what World Champs is, when we refer to it, there are lots of new people here. We've both competed, Jeff multiple times, me once. We've both competed in the obstacle course racing World Champs. So you've been to Ohio once, Canada twice.
Yep.
I did the Canada race one time. So it was a series of different obstacles, super big inclines, lots of running, really intense race, like world level athlete race. So I did that in 2017. You did it in 15, 16, 17?
15, 16, 17. Yep.
So, I mean, we're no stranger to crazy things like that. And Jeff's no stranger to ultra endurance things like 24-hour races and whatnot. So honestly, I'm not worried for you at all. I think you're going to be totally fine, and you're going to be doing it with a smile on your face. You're going to be loving life.
I'm super excited.
I'm excited. I'm just nervous. And I think my whole thing, I guess, with what I do on Twitch is a lot about, like, you know, breaking the stigmas of gamers being like, you know, unfit white men, because that is the stereotype, right? When you look at things like South Park and in different like comedy shows, when they make fun of gamers are like obese, like white dudes playing WoW. And I hate that stereotype because it's just not inclusive. It doesn't include anyone in the gaming community. It's stupid. So what I'm always trying to do on Twitch, aside from, you know, just play games and have fun and have a fun community, is break the stigma of what a gamer looks like. And a lot of the time that involves trying to push myself into crazy fitness things to prove that that's not the case. And I think because of that, and also being with Red Bull, like Red Bull athletes are some of the most incredible people on the planet. And I often feel not really worthy of sometimes being, I'm not a Red Bull athlete, I'm a Red Bull player. So it is like the gaming side of Red Bull, but still, you know, being on a similar squad, I suppose, with the athletes is like terrifying to me because I'm not an Olympian or this crazy athlete. So I feel like I really need to prove myself to everyone. And that's put a lot of pressure on me to be like, I can't fail this race because I have so much to prove, which is good motivation, I suppose, but it's also terrifying. Whereas I feel like for you don't have anything to lose. You're just like, woo, let's go. It's super fun.
Yeah, super fun.
Because I'm like, there's so much pressure on me. But it's good because I need something, because I haven't had anything to push me, I suppose, over the last couple of years. And I'm still, you know, I feel like the pandemic is something that everyone's kind of just glazed over in terms of like the long-term effects of what we've been through the last couple of years. And I've definitely become far more reclusive. Like there's weeks at a time that I don't leave the house because we have the gym here as well.
Yeah.
I just don't really need to go anywhere. And I think that's, you know, kind of made me become a bit more shy and back in my shell like I was before I started doing all of this. So that's on me to, you know, get out of that and get out more. And it's just hard with the schedule. I just don't have time.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's I suppose just in my chat here, it is awesome, and they love that you're challenging the stigma of the gamer and the fitness thing as well. I think one of the other stigmas that is challenging, and that I've always looked at challenging, this is when I started getting into fitness. Because when I started getting into fitness, I was co-parenting a brand new infant. I was working full-time and I was studying full-time as well. And I managed to lose 53 kilos at the same time. So I think the stigma that I was challenging there was, oh, I just don't have time for whatever, for X. Where literally if something is important to you, you will make time. We've all got the same 1,440 seconds in the day or whatever it is, whatever it works out to be. And so I think that's another stigma to be challenging there too, is that, look, it's not that you don't have time, it's that you're going to prioritize things differently.
Yeah.
So,
it's definitely what's probably going to happen is setting like a strict schedule and being like, okay, I have to wake up at this time. I have to stream 7 hours this day, 8 hours this day, whatever this day, and I have to train for 3 hours afterwards or before or whatever. And I think what's made it difficult, and it's not to like shift blame at all, like it's 100% on me for dropping the ball with fitness, but what has made it tricky is with your new like schedule with your work things, you're getting up at 4 a.m, you're streaming till 7 p.m. or 7 a.m, going to work, you come home, you've probably got a couple clients, and then it's like 8 p.m. and it's like neither of us want to do anything but eat and go to bed and you're falling asleep on the couch by like 9. So it does feel hard. Like I also don't, I feel like I don't want to impose on you and be like, hey, can you train me now for 2 hours? Because you're ruined. Like you've had a huge day. And I'm like, well, we'll just chill. And that's resulted in me just getting like unfit.
Yeah. And yeah, like I say, it's, I don't think it's anyone's fault. And
it's just what's happened. Like
it's what's happened. Yep. And I think it started from the, like what I was saying there, the priorities changed. And for that crazy 4 or 5 month period in 2021 where we were doing the saving for the house and saving the deposit, and like that was the priority, and we absolutely smashed it. And I think it's since then we've just had this constant on the go kind of thing. Yeah, I think we never really stopped that. Like we reeled back a bit, obviously. Like we haven't kept working that crazily the whole time, but I feel like we definitely haven't reeled it in as much as we probably should have to make sure that we did have that time for other things. Because it's just, you get in a habit, and we got in a habit of, working with X amount of people or doing X amount of content during that time. Waking up, checking emails, jumping straight onto computers, doing this, doing that. Yeah. So it's exactly. So it's a while we're in this in-betweener kind of lifestyle here, it's still going to be a bit up and down. I think it's still going to be in a maintenance kind of fashion. But like you said, once we've got that new place, which is yours and ours, and we can build up the spaces that we want. And then also build a bit more of a longer term. And for me especially, the long-term relationships, what I'm thinking about are the in-person clients, in-person training. Because I know that we're going to move away from here. So if there's someone, 2 doors down that wants to train with me, it's going to change. So yeah. And
it sucks because you get in like a good rhythm, like that you've had a few clients that you've just started to really break through, and then it's like, okay, bye, we have to move. It's like, And the same thing happened when the other trainers from your old studio like moved to Canada and things. Like you're leaving behind all these people that, relied on you for the last year, and it sucks that it is really something that you can definitely do online, and you're proof to that you've got a few people that you're consistently writing programs for overseas even. But there's nothing like training in person.
Correct. Yeah.
Especially for fitness, like with cues and things. You can do it over video for sure, but it's a bit different.
Well, I mean, there's actually I probably can't. I was going to say there's some stuff there that I can talk about, but I literally can't because I signed an NDA.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm about to stop you there real fast.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop you there. So there's stuff in the works. So it's not like we're on full hold at the moment. There are some cool things happening. So stay tuned for that.
Yeah, but so speaking of fitness events, you got a marathon tomorrow.
Yeah, half marathon.
That's right.
Just a cheeky one. That's what, if you've been watching my side, I've got my, you asked, is this your ritual? I've forgotten that I had a whole bunch of rituals pre-race. I do have a lot of things that I do pre-race.
Yeah, he comes in today with this huge thing of coconut water being like, gotta get all this down. I'm like, huh?
Get it in.
Oh, buddy, get this in my belly.
I got 4 liters of coconut water. I'm gonna get it all in. So this
How
is
come coconut water?
Now. A lot of really good electrolytes, and it's carbs, so it's part of my carb loading routine. So it's I don't know why. I think it might be superstitious because I found that whenever I was traveling for Spartan races, I was able to just go to my routine used to be I'd get a plane in the morning, like usually the day before a race. I'd get the hire car. I'd stop off at like a Coles or a Woolies, like a supermarket, and I would pick up a bunch of water. I'd pick up a bunch of like things to munch on, the breakfast for the next day. So my bagels, my banana, my peanut butter. And then I'd just hydrate for the rest of the day. And so sometimes when I was looking at my macros, I was thinking to myself, I need to get some more carbs in, but I also want to hydrate at the same time. And I don't really like soft drinks and things like that.
Yeah.
And so coconut water is great. I love it.
Is the coconut on Lamingtons a good enough substitute?
Yeah. So the other thing that you want to watch out for, and this is again, I'm not a dietitian. What I'm passing on now is what a dietitian wrote for me. Is when I was training for an ultra. One of the things that you want to do. This isn't an ultra tomorrow. It's only 21K, which means a couple of hours, all good. But when you're looking at an ultra, you have to start thinking about bodily functions and peeing and pooping, right? Yeah. And so carb loading, you also want to make sure that you're not getting too much fiber. You don't want too much solid food, which is actually going to clog up, and you'll need to make a quick stop when you're trying to break a PR. So coconut water, really, really good, because you just get like the liquid carbs in there as well. So yeah. So that's just one of my little rituals. So I've just been sipping on my coconut juice. Yes.
Yeah, for people, only 21 kilometers. I mean, we were saying it before, like for me last week, like I ran 27 kilometers and the most I've run in the last 6 months is 5. So it's not, I don't know. We talk about all the time, like the human body is capable of so much. It's just, I feel like as a society, we kind of just settle for mediocrity a lot. And it's very easy to sandbag yourself and be like, oh, no, it's too hard. Oh, no, that's like super athlete things. And like, it's running 21 kilometers is no small feat for sure. But like bodies are amazing. They are machines. And if you treat them like machines and treat them with respect and feed them good fuels and, keep them moving and oiled up, then, it can do a lot.
It's and I don't want to get into it because I know people will start having like the paleo debate and whatnot, but early humans, like the whole source of food and the reason why we find protein and fat so delicious is because our ancestors would actually chase down animals, and one of the reasons why we sweat is because it's an endurance thing. The animals that they would chase down, they would actually run down to exhaustion. So you'd run 300, 400 kilometers over the course of a week, chasing down a big bloody animal. It would die out of exhaustion, and then they would butcher it and eat it.
That's kind of hilarious. So like you can outrun a deer to the point that it's just like, just eat me. I'm done.
You don't outrun it because as you know, like over the short distance, they'll bolt. Yeah. But then they'll get tired and they'll stop, and so you would stalk it, and so they would just over the course of 300 kilometers stalk it down to the point where it's like, I am not moving anymore. And
I gave it a shot. You earned it. Go on. Take a bite. It presents their stomach.
So yeah, that like humans, and you know what, funnily enough, you can also get into a little bit of discussion about gender roles in terms of that too, like the hunters-gatherers. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of the ultra marathon running group and some of the best ultra marathoners in the world are female. Because there are some funny anatomical things that happen there in terms of endurance and in terms of mental fortitude and whatnot too. So bigger discussion.
You mean my uterus won't fall out if I run?
That's ridiculous, isn't it? There was, for those that don't know, I think it was in the 60s and 70s, one of the leading, women were banned from running marathons. Like there were literally no women in marathons.
This is not long ago. This is in the 60s, people. This is not in the 1900s, like early 1900s. This is not that long ago.
There are black and white photos of the first activist women actually banditing races. So I don't know if you know the term banditing. It's when you... I've done a few of this, and it annoys me. But like when you're running in a race and you've got the actual badge that you've paid for, and then someone kind of just runs in from the start line and decides to run the race with you without paying for it, like they would just ban at the race. So there are some activists where they're actually they're not wearing running clothes because they were in the audience to begin with, but they would run out onto the field and then run the full marathon, beating half of the men out there as well, which is fantastic. So it wasn't that long ago when this was an issue. But yeah, some of the leading organizations would say is that women weren't allowed to run, not because you're women, but because anatomically your uterus is going to fall out.
That's so ridiculous. Oh my God. I can't believe it. Like, oh,
yeah.
God. And we're not allowed to have pockets on our clothes because that's where we're going to keep our spells and potions to kill men with. Like,
Yep.
Oh, so silly. So very silly.
Your wolf's bane and your bloody way of newt.
There's pockets.
Yeah.
I'll get ya. Yeah, so circling back, the main focus for us training wise obviously is Defiance. So it's a multi-day event, mountain biking, running, kayaking, extreme things. And there's going to be a lot of pre-race content coming up. So we've been sent a couple of GoPros, which I'm very excited about. We've got a 360 cam and a Hero 10.
Remind me to charge them up later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to take them out. We've got some bikes arriving next week with our protective gear and stuff, so we can head out on the trails and get some cool content and stuff. And so we will be doing like an official announcement. We really just wanted to get out there and start talking about it because we're kind of dying to talk about it. But when you do see the announcements, please give it all the love, because this is important for me as a Red Bull player to show that people also care about the other side and do care about the fitness stuff and are along for the ride. So we'll have coverage of training and some press stuff happening. And also during the race, we're going to take the cameras too, so we can try to capture some race
We're going to need lots of batteries, some and some waterproof pouches and stuff.
Yeah, because what's the distance and stuff? Can you tell the people?
I can bring it up. Give me a sec.
Yeah.
I didn't prepare this. Sorry.
The one thing I told you to do this morning. It's so good. Yeah. I'm like, make sure you bring up the Defiance stuff so we know what's going on.
Oh, it's all right. It's just one click away.
Yeah.
So the course itself, 8 stages. 8 stages here. So the route itself is taking place around Mission Beach, near Cairns.
Do you reckon it's gonna be humid? It's August. Does it get is it humid?
Definitely be humid.
All year round?
It'll be disgusting. It's pretty bad up there. So
we should train with some masks on then, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things that we probably can't approximate in our training. Not really masks. It's going to be just the heat.
Yeah.
So to be honest, you probably want to just chuck on some very, very hot clothing, and we just run and race in hot, sweaty clothing. You want to be uncomfortable. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Liam says it's the only time he can go back and see the family in July, August. So it's like shorts and shirt weather during the day. It's not as bad.
Yeah. It's going to be uncomfortable at night time because you're going to be, number one, muscle sore, but also the humidity / the bugs and stuff. They're really going to be annoying.
Is it going to be spiders?
Depends where we stay. We haven't figured that out yet, but it's rainforest.
Bug bombs. So... We need bug bombs. Oh my God, is there spiders, Liam?
Spooters. So in the stages here, let me have a quick look. Stage 1, rafting. The whitewater raft. This is how it begins.
That's stage 1?
Stage 1, yeah. Have you looked at this much, or shall I explain?
No, I don't want to know. I just want to train and just let it surprise me.
I'll tell you. I'll explain to you. So stage 1 is the whitewater rafting. So
and that's
we actually go
6 people.
There's yes. It's ourselves and 2 other pairs. Plus there's a safety person in the raft as well.
Oh, that's nice.
That's nice. Yeah.
I didn't know there's a safety person. Oh, that makes me feel much better, because I was like, what if I just go overboard and just hit my head on a rock and I die?
I don't think they're safety. I think they're more just to help steer as well.
Oh.
Because I mean, not a lot of us in the adventure racing world are whitewater rafters. It's more kayaking. So I think there's going to be people with this as well.
Cool.
So the first stage is a 10-kilometer whitewater raft. The estimated
so far.
the estimated slow time is 1 hour 30.
Oh, okay.
So
that's
it's
easy.
an hour and a half of and we don't have to do much paddling. You just have to roll with the white water.
It's like riding a mechanical bull. Just around, don't fall off. Have you ever done it? Have you done whitewater rafting?
Whitewater rafting? No, I have not.
How do you feel about it?
Brand new. excited.
You're just pumped to be alive in
I'm
this
so
race.
pumped. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's a couple of things that you do have to note. There's a like the main things to watch out for are not holding your legs too taut if you fall out.
Yeah,
The big
okay.
thing that does catch people is when there are underwater obstructions and you get your feet caught on things. So you just got to be
Yeah.
floppy and you just got to roll with it. Put your faith into the PFD.
Whoa,
the-
that's terrifying. I just literally got a shiver in my whole body, like just imagining me just like face down, like floating. Oh my god. Okay.
No, so that's all right. It's a lot of core and control work in order to stay upright and just hold the path.
Yeah.
So the upside is that once your arms are burned out, after that there's a trail run. So it goes into the run,
Cool.
which is a 23 kilometer trail run. So after the 10 kilometer whitewater raft, it's a 23 kilometer run. It has a altitude gain of 1,000 meters.
Okay.
So
Yeah, it's kind of like a
going-
Jeff hike, to be honest.
It's
Pretty
going up
standard.
lofty 3 times. Yeah. So 3 times up lofty, 23 kilometers. Estimated slow time is 5 hours and 30 minutes. So
Yeah, okay.
we've got if we go to slow times, we've got an hour and a half plus 5.5.
Yeah. I mean, World Champs was 21 and that took me 6, but that was the obstacles slowing me down. I sat at a bloody rig for an hour. So yeah, that doesn't sound too bad actually.
So that's 7 hours in total.
Yeah.
So then the third stage, once you've done the trail run, we pick up our bikes and we do a 53 kilometer bike ride.
Yeah, that's the part that's scary.
Yeah, so the scary bit about this isn't the elevation increase, it's the fact that we both go up we go up by a kilometer, but we go down by 2 kilometers. So there's some
Oh, okay.
Yep. So there's a 1,000 meter elevation gain, but a 1,800 meter elevation loss.
Cool.
So a lot of downhill.
Yeah, okay.
So
The
that's
downhill
53K.
honestly is kind of the part that I'm worried about, just because that's probably where you get to stack it if you're gonna stack it.
Yeah, we're also
Like
gonna
the climbs
have
don't
tired
really
legs.
worry me too much.
The climbs are going to be brutal.
Yeah.
Because we have tired legs.
For sure.
So yeah, and this one, because it's 53K with that much elevation, the estimated slow time is 5 hours and 20 minutes.
Okay.
So if we were to take the slowest time for every single leg, it'd be about 12.5 hours
Okay.
on feet,
Yeah.
which we then need to go to sleep and then wake up for stage 2.
Is day one's arguably harder?
No.
Oh shit. Day one's the easy day. Okay.
Yeah, that's right. So the next day we
Gulp.
wake up and we wake up nice and early and we chuck our togs on because you have the ocean kayak. So it goes out to, this is a 14 kilometer kayak.
I thought it was 30.
So it's 14 one way
Well,
and then so 14 kilometers because we're actually kayaking out to an island.
yeah.
Once you hit the island, it's what's it called? It's called let me just find the name of the island here. Dunk. I knew it had a funny name. It's called Dunk Island. So we then
Is that foreshadowing something? Jesus.
Probably. So the island itself has an airport on it. It's not
Cool.
a big island. It's got a little airport on it. So we run around the island. It's an 11 kilometer run
So easy.
with it's 300 meters up, 300 meters down. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, wicked.
So estimated slow time 2 hours. Once you've done that, we then go back to our kayaks that we left on the beach.
Yep.
And we take a slightly different path back. It's not that far actually. It's only 4 kilometers.
Oh,
So
Cool.
that's pretty good.
for some reason I had 30 kilometer kayak in my brain. I don't know why.
Yeah, that was what was said to me. But now I'm going through this one. It's definitely
Cool.
not that.
I think it might have been Woody.
So yeah,
Maybe that was
okay,
what they had to do that year.
Roger. So the after the kayak, now there isn't on the list here, but there is a mystery event, which is usually on that second day.
Yeah. So 2 years ago it was clay shooting, right?
Yes.
And if you missed
so
it,
when
you
I
had
was
to
in
do
New
a
Zealand,
lap.
Yep. So if you missed the pigeon, you would have to run, I think it was like a 4 kilometer lap around
Penalty.
and then come back to the start. It's similar to the world's toughest mudder stuff.
Yeah.
Yep. One like the one that I'm expecting, because this is what happened not last year, year before last. in Mission Beach, they drop a kettlebell to the bottom of the ocean. So before you get your kayak back to the beach, it stops, I think,
makes me
about
wanna vomit.
50 meters out. They drop a kettlebell to the bottom of the ocean. You got to dive down. You got to grab that kettlebell, and then you got to run back to the beach. With
How?
the kettlebell in
Actually,
your hands.
how though? Like, how do
There's
you dive?
photos.
Do you
Just,
have goggles? How do you dive that far?
You swim. You know, you just swim down.
You're fully dressed.
No,
You're in a wetsuit?
Honestly, I will probably be wearing a triathlon suit, to be honest. Have you seen that?
Yeah, they're like
I'll show
the
you.
wrestling suits, like the shorts.
Yes,
with
they're like
bib.
wrestling singlets. Correct. So I'd probably be wearing one of those. But to be honest, again, as someone that's done enduro, you tend to train yourself in just whatever the hell you're wearing. You'll just do what you need to
How
do.
you do that? Like the ocean floor. How deep is that?
Let me find a photo.
Just swim down. How?
Just swim. Just swim.
Yeah, just swim. I just can't. I can't. It's only one of us has to do it, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, you're going down there, mate. You're going down there with the shacks. That's crazy. I mean, if it's near a shore, I suppose it could be like, I don't know. How long can you hold your breath?
Me? I'm usually good for about 4 or 5 minutes.
Jesus!
Have you not tested it?
Oh,
You should test how long you can hold your breath for.
a minute or two?
Yeah. That's
Underwater, like underwater when you have to. Whereas like if you're just trying to do it here, it's like, oh, I got nothing to stop me from breathing. Underwater. I grew up with a swimming pool, so we used to always see how many laps we could do underwater back and forth.
It's
So I was
also
pretty good at that.
Yeah, and it's also not like you have to carry the kettlebell in one shot either. You drop it, you go back up to the top, take a breath, and go back down again.
Nah, one try.
That's
one try or
one shopping
not
trip.
at all.
All the shopping.
Yeah.
All the shopping.
That's crazy. Oh my God, I hope it's close shooting.
To be honest, that was what they did a couple of years ago. So
Yeah.
it may not be anything close to what happens this year. It could be something completely different. So yeah,
not sure if all the duck diving at school swimming is going to be enough training.
That would good.
Yeah,
so
that's
once you get back
terrifying.
to the beach after the kayak, so we're still on day 2 here. So we've done the kayak out to the Dunk Island. We've run around the island. We've got back in the kayaks. We've bolted back to shore, a 4-kilometer sprint. We've now got a mountain bike.
Sure.
So
sprint.
Sure. So the mountain bike itself is, I'm just looking at the map here. It's, which way is that? So you go.
And when do we have
into a
coconuts on the
forest.
beach? Cheese board and cocktail time.
Put the lime in the coconut. We ride up into some indigenous areas. So there's some really cool forested areas here. And then we ride down to Mission Beach. It's a 248 meter up and 248 meter down, 24 kilometers in total.
Okay.
With the last 10 kilometers being on sand. So it's on
the bikes.
On the bikes, correct.
Is that it?
Nope.
Okay. And so that's not.
After that,
Okay.
that's not too bad. So then after that, we've got the trail run, which is a largely sand run. Yep, it's 10 kilometers of sand running.
Okay.
So you gotta get prepped for that one, which is absolutely brutal if you haven't done that before.
And that's where you cross the line?
That's it. Yep,
Okay.
you cross the line after that run.
So
Yeah.
I mean, I might be crazy, but day 1 sounds heaps harder. No?
You gotta take into account the fact that you're gonna be day 1 sore on day 2.
True.
So think about how you felt after running 27 kilometers and then add in a mountain bike and a whitewater raft and a bit more.
Yeah.
And then do day 2. And the thing is, if you're slow on day 1, you're pulling up when other people are already in bed, sleeping, ready for day 2. Yeah. So you got to take that into account as well. Your recovery, your eating time, your comfort levels, how well you sleep. If you can smash it on day 1, then day 2 becomes a hell of a lot nicer. You're not on heavy legs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Big sleep. True.
Yeah. Well, sleep's another, like whether or not you do sleep or not, that's a thing. But also just your
restless,
after body care. Yeah. Do you get changed? You may not have time to have a shower, etc. Those sorts of things. So yeah, you got to think about that.
It's intense.
Yeah. And the other thing, we have to carry all of our nutrition with us. So we have to plan all of that out.
Yeah, we don't have like a pit crew that could bring us stuff because we're going to be in the middle of the forest.
We are our own pit crews. Yeah. I'm pretty sure that some of these stages with the bike as well are carries. So you have to pick your bike up and carry them across creeks and stuff. There's some fun stuff.
So we have 4 months to get ready for that.
Oh yes.
Do you think, honestly, like, what are your thoughts on, I know you're going to be fine. What are your thoughts on, like, if you're writing us a program?
Yeah.
How do you think 4 months is time-wise to prepare?
Oh, it's fine. It's fine. You just got to get the time in. So it's just going to be like you found you can do whatever you need to on the day. It's going to be how well you recover. Everyone's going to be slightly different. So if you can smash 2 days out and then, spend the next 3 weeks
die on the third.
fine. That's fine. Yeah.
How do you train? I guess it's just volume, but like, how do you train to not be wrecked the next day? Just volume.
You will be wrecked the next day, and it's how well you grimace through the pain is the point. I can guarantee, because whenever I've done multi-day things, I'm always in awful shape the next day, and there's just no avoiding it, and you just get up and do it is the thing. You just go through.
Do you think it would be easier if it was just one whole big 24-hour?
Yes.
Than having to stop.
I don't think the race times would be as good. So I think that if you were to take the 2 separate days worth of work, that would be much faster because they're split. But I think the mental barrier in having that gap in the middle, I suppose it depends on the person. Some people can actually recharge well with that, but some people won't. Some people will just be up all night stressing about the next day, tending to blisters, that sort of thing. So
it's stressful.
So really the only way to get good with multi-day stuff and being able to work while wrecked is to actually work while wrecked.
Back training,
Yeah. So honestly, like, if we do another day where you feel like the day after your 27K run, then you just run the next day. Like, you literally just get off your butt and run.
Or maybe you get voted out at the tribal council and we won't have to do the second stage. Yeah, just swim all night long. Active recovery. Let's go.
It's cold.
So shit. It's, I don't know, on paper, it's a lot. Like, but it's possible. This is definitely possible.
Yep.
And, we'll have, there's only 80 teams doing it, 80 teams doing it total, including us. So I feel like with that kind of distance, like, there'll be, the elites right at the front that'll just cruise off. And do you reckon we'll like be near people much, or you reckon it'll be super spread out? Because that's like hundreds of kilometers, right? So
I don't think we'll see a lot of people. I think it'll spread out, and to be honest, we're in as ambassadors. The elites will disappear very quickly.
Yeah, we're just like the ones they're gonna laugh at. We're the comedy show. No. Yeah.
It's going to be about having that big old smile on your face and pushing through and breaking stereotypes.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's exciting. I don't know to wear. We might have to get some, I reckon like the tri-suits might be a good idea.
Tri-suits are good. Like,
just so to worry about, like shit coming untucked or whatever. I just don't want to have to worry about that.
To be honest, you stop worrying about shit like that. Like, there comes a point where vanity just goes out the window and you're like, I don't
Yeah, not so about vanity, but just like, I don't have to worry about my, like, I don't know, things like coming untucked and getting in the way kind of thing. Like, I just want to know that I'm like secure and everything's zipped up and I'm cool. Like, I don't have to worry about it. Like shoelaces coming undone and things like that.
Oh, that stuff. Yeah, exactly. So this harps onto training strategies as well. So having things like safe laces, having all of your gear packed, and having lube for the little hot spots where it rubs on your shoulders, etc., etc. So
because we have to carry all our water and stuff too, right? So we have to counter in for all carrying. Because I got to get better at not needing water. Because I drink like 2 liters of water on a 5K run. I'm just like so thirsty. And I can't carry all that over this time. So is there like refuel stations when we get our bikes and stuff and we fill water up?
I'm not sure what there is there. To be honest, much like Urabilla, I'm packing enough water for me. So
I'm just picturing myself well said, and just left on the on the island, just like turn into this ravage. Oh my god. Just leave me here to die. Like I was in that hike that we did a few months ago. Just like, I'm done, I'm dead, I'm dying, it's too hot.
You're ready to just
I'm like, you know what? I had a good run. I made it nearly 30 years. Just leave me here to die. I was so miserable. Oh, that's what I mean. Like my mental fortitude right now is not great. So I need to work on that.
Yeah.
I just don't know how to do that because I'm in such a safe environment. You know what I mean? Like what I do is from the safety of my home.
Everyone is very used to being comfortable.
Yeah, I know.
People have forgotten what it's like to be uncomfortable and to relish in that. Yeah. Just from the chat here, the equipment page on the website, there is a mandatory equipment, and it says you need to be able to carry all water for stage. So the stages are like I was saying there. You've got the rafting, the trail run, the mountain bike. So assuming that when you change stage, you're going to have a checkpoint there. So So what we'd probably need to do, and this is what happens with marathons, ultra marathons, you can often, because there aren't many teams, there's only 80 teams, they can be a lot more catered for. So we can have little esky bags with our names on it and say, okay, we want this one at stage 2 changeover, and we want this bag at stage 3 changeover because it's got my gels for this, it's got my the special chamois shorts I want to wear for the bike, etc. So you can actually be catered for pretty well. So things like that you think about. We also want to think about how nutrition in terms of caffeine is a big one. So it is sponsored by Red Bull, and one of the big things about Red Bull in training is that Red Bull does have its place. Energy drinks do have a place in training, and you have to strategize for that. Because obviously if you have your daily requirement of or your maximum daily intake of Red Bull on the first stage, you're not going to be carrying yourself through for stage 5.
Yeah.
So, and then if you have it all at stage 5, you're not going to be sleeping for the next day.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
You really do have to think about that.
Yeah. How much of a part do you think adrenaline will play? Like, obviously you're only going to get a spike, and there is like that calm down as well, especially over 12 hours. Yeah. Like, how much do you think adrenaline's going to help or hinder?
Usually until the sun starts going down. So usually until after lunch. There's a weird like circadian response to the morning. You're pretty peppy. You feel pretty good. But then as the sun starts going down, as you realize the sun's actually on the other side of the horizon there, you start winding down, and your body starts winding down, and you do get that post adrenaline kind of. It's a little bit like you've got a time frame coming up. You've got a time that you have to be finishing by, and you get a little bit stressed about that as well. So that's when the cortisol starts to kick in. The
Does that help?
Of the adrenaline there.
No.
Nope.
Nope. But if you've got that stress and like that anxiety, are you not going to be like, I got to finish quick?
Depends. It depends. Like if we're going to start talking about brain chemicals, it becomes very, very complicated. So people that are a little bit more receptive to depression and anxiety, the reason why they are in that state is because they don't handle those sorts of things well. Their response to cortisol is actually more cortisol. So it's a downward spiral.
Okay.
Whereas people that are trained for it, or people that do have some management strategies around it, are able to call upon things within themselves and change the way they think about it. So it's it's definitely not I don't think it's something that can be explained or trained that well.
Yeah, that was my next question. How do I if I'm feeling like I have become like reclusive and kind of weak-willed, I suppose, I don't know what to call it. Like, how do I train for that? How do I prepare myself for what I'm going to face in the middle of a 100-kilometer run?
Yeah, and yeah, this is the challenge that I suppose I have as your partner in this, is that I've done 10 years worth of, hey Jeff, put a blindfold on at 4 a.m. and I'll march you out to a firing range and then tell you where to go. Like I've done this stuff voluntarily, just putting yourself into stupid situations that I really didn't want to be into. I got a memory on Facebook the other day because I did my 24-hour bush obstacle thing, and we'd gone 19 hours without any food, and in order to get a fun-sized Mars bar, I had to eat in a whole onion.
You're like, did that for Movember, easy.
Yeah, so that's why for Movember it wasn't that scary for me, but
yeah,
that's the thing. You've not put yourself in these situations. You've not done this.
Yeah.
And
I have a very sheltered life in comparison. Like,
and I'm also not the kind of guy that would probably force you to do anything. I think I'm a little bit too okay.
You're a bit of a pushover, to be honest.
You go.
It's easy to make you go with what I want.
What's a donut?
What? I don't think I've heard of a donut. I think I need to try a donut.
Yeah. So it's it's a interesting one. I just saw Hex's question there. How does
I was going to cover that
thing? Yeah, it's so for me, because I've done both types of events,
this is going to be far harder.
Yeah.
I think
so. When that question is asked of me, what do I find hardest, the 24-hour ones or the 15K world champs? The 15K world champ was definitely the hardest one for me, but I was also racing for time. I also was pushing myself to 110%.
Yeah, you were like redlining the whole time.
Yeah, whereas for the 24-hour ones, you're against the clock, so you're pacing yourself. This sort of event is going to be a mix of both, because it is an ultra event. It is an ultra endurance. It's over 2 days. The Canadian event, you can see the finish line when you start the race. You know, and you also have like
you do like a cool windy, like the way the Canadian one works. Like you take off and there's just so many people on the sidelines like cheering you and pumping you up, and then you head up to like the backside of the course where there's no one, and it's you versus this big freaking incline. Once you get over that, you get to hit an obstacle that's like fun. Like as obstacle course races, the obstacles are challenges for sure, but they're kind of like the fun part of the course, and they really break it up. And so, you come down and do the monkey bars where everyone's there cheering you on. Then you come and do this big wall where there's like a whole festival of people and music and everyone's like pumped and you get the vibes. Whereas this is going to be us versus the terrain. There's not going to be people there pumping us up.
Yeah.
There's going to be stretches of running for 12 hours, like, or whatever.
When you were climbing the hill and you found a friend to have a chat to, and I happened to be on the ski lift above you filming you. So that doesn't happen in this sort of event.
Yeah.
You don't run into that random happy, cheery, motivational person. It's sort of you and the terrain.
Yeah. I think that's what's probably got me, because obviously I've done world champs and I'm not an overly like emotional person, which I've talked about before, and I was a blubbering heap by the end of the 6-hour race in Canada. Like I was a husk of a human, and I left a part of my soul on that mountain in Canada. Like it took everything from me and I put everything into it, and I was like so accomplished. It's still one of the best things I've ever done in my life, but this I feel like is going to be much harder because again, it doesn't have the breaks in it where there's obstacles. There's going to be, long stretches where it's just the slow slog of running on sand for 10 kilometers and, or how long the other run, like 30-kilometer run or whatever. Those parts I think are going to be really tricky. I think the kayak part I'm looking forward to. I think it's going to be kind of eerie as well though, because it's going to be like silent and just us like
it's open water,
paddling.
I've got a bit of thalassophobia.
Yeah, I haven't really ever been out in the situation to know whether or not I have that, so that'll be an interesting one to face when we're out there. Yeah. What have you done to experience that?
Scuba diving.
Oh, fuck that. I don't like scuba. I can't snorkel. I tried to snorkel once and I like sucked the water in and nearly choked to death. So I was like, nah, I think I'm good. I don't want to do that.
You had the snorkel upside down.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Nath. So yeah, I think to answer your question, Steph, this one's going to be definitely far less glamorous, I think I would say, from World Champs. World Champs is very much like you're on the world stage, you're there representing your country, you've got everyone behind you, you've got, you know, every obstacle you come up to, because we had our names on the back of our shirts as well and had like Australia and stuff. They'd be like, let's go Australia, go Grace. Like people that I don't know cheering for me. And that gives you that like pump up. Whereas this is just us versus the fucking world, man.
Plus it's fun. Like, there are obstacles. There's
yeah,
climbing things, there's mud. It's fun. You're a big kid again. But this is kind of like chasing down an elk over 3 weeks.
Stripped down bare bones, like climb this huge hill.
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I'd be nervous going into any type of event because I've just lost a lot of fitness over the last pandemic. Haven't trained anywhere near as much as we had to the lead up to World Champs. But having said that, I went from, when did we start training? For first time ever, like June. Yep. From June to when was World Champs? September? June,
yes.
July, August.
October.
So I mean, yeah, I had between going from not being able to do a single push-up, not knowing how to run, not knowing how to, I mean, being incredibly underweight and unhealthy mentally and physically, to 3 months training with Jeff, being on the world stage at World Champs. I think 4 months for Defiance, as long as I put in that kind of effort, which to be honest was a huge amount of effort. Like I don't even know how I streamed. I don't even know what I was doing because I feel like I was only training.
To be honest, like pure minimum would be if we were to spend every Sunday or every Saturday on a 6+ hour event, like hiking or cycling or kayaking, and then spatter in the middle a couple of little treadmill workouts, you'll be fine. Yeah. Do you think in this type of thing, is it worth, like in terms of strength, right? Do you think we do any strength training? Like, do we need to be lifting weights? Or do you think it's all going to be supplementary strength training? So you'll want to be looking
like
after
isolation or
needs. You'll want not really. It's going to be stuff that I'll tell you what hurts on you as soon as you get fatigue. Your hips, hips. So your glute medials will need a lot of work. Which then extends down to your knee form, which is then going to extend into poor calf mobility. So ankle mobility is going to be a big one. Hip mobility is going to be a big one. For mountain biking, you're going to want to watch your shoulders and your forearms as well.
Shoulders?
Depending on how much. Yeah.
Really?
Mountain biking is, especially with the downhill. So downhill stuff, you're taking a lot of, and I'm going to put it out there, we're not getting the best mountain bikes out there. The ones that we're getting have probably some of the poorest forks, just because that's all we can really afford to get. So we're going to be needing to use our shoulders and arms as the shock absorbers.
Yeah, okay.
We are getting rear shocks, but the rear shocks we're getting are very, very good for the price range. So that's not too bad. Your butt's going to be okay.
Audio devices and headphones aren't allowed.
Correct.
Damn it. To say music out while we're kayaking would be nice because it's going to be so eerie.
Again, it's a mental thing. It really is.
I would walk 500.
It's super easy to do anything when you got people cheering you on. Like it's easy. It really is. And so that's why this sort of event it's you against the world, right?
Do you think it's a safety thing, or do you think it's literally to be like, nah, suffer?
100% safety thing.
Really?
Because what happens is you won't hear if someone's fallen over and broken their leg.
Yeah. Okay,
you won't hear if there's a mountain bike approaching you from behind. And if you're using your earphones on your phone, the phone is a mandatory piece of safety equipment, so you're going to drain your battery.
Yeah,
so
okay.
It's 100% a safety thing. Yep.
Yeah, okay. We'll just get to that delusional point where we just start singing.
Hash brown time. That's
yeah. We've never experienced that together really, because like that's one thing that I am really looking forward to this, and something that I think I favor this over something like World Champs is Jeff and I have done a lot of fitness events, but we've rarely gotten to do it together because we're not in the same class. Like if he's in the elite men's like category, I'm in the women's one that starts later, or we race at the same time or different times. Like at World Champs, he started at say 8 a.m. and then I started at 10 a.m. And so we're on the course at the same time, but in different bits. So we couldn't see each other. Yep. And like, I think the fact that this one is together and it's literally going to be like, we have to stay within 50 meters or whatever it is from each other. I think that's really going to help me for sure. Because I'm going to have you being like, no, you got this. Come on, like, let's go. We got to get this time split in or whatever. And, we've got that motivation from each other. Whereas Canada, I met some awesome people on the course that I still talk to on Instagram. Just randomly like, oh man, this is brutal. And then it's like, yeah, let's just stick together because there's some obstacles and stuff that are real friggin' nasty. Which was cool, but it would have been completely different if we'd been together. And even when we did the team race, it was different legs. Like you did the running part and I did the obstacle part or whatever it was. I had the carries. So like we were on the course at different times. So yeah, we've never really got to do like a big epic race. We've done Spartans and stuff, but we've never done like a big thing together. And that I'm really excited. Like when Red Bull came to us and was like, we want to sponsor you guys to do it together. I'm like, that's the coolest fucking thing. Like it's so dope.
Which, I suppose just to toot my own horn for a sec there too, just to have the recognition of like for FFP by Red Bull as well is it's pretty nice in that regards too.
Yeah,
there's a weird
sure.
when just harking back to your comment there about meeting people on the course. I don't know if you've done enough to have found this, but there's this weird phenomenon that I find in ultra events where you're digging deep and you'll often, like you said, you'll find yourself running alongside someone. You'll give them a nod and you'll just run silently for a long time, or you'll just be doing whatever you need to silently. Sometimes it'll be a bit of a back and forth and you just give them a nod and you'll see them and you'll know that you'll learn their gait, you'll learn like what the back of their head looks like, etc. You'll learn the sound of their footfall, and you never speak to them. And then this weird thing happens where race is all over, it's all said and done, and at the airport, you all happen to be on sort of like the same flights, and you just end up like sitting down and having lunch with these people, having never spoken to them before, and it's like you're all best mates. It's
because
really
you've just
weird,
suffered this crazy challenge together, and you've created like this trauma bond or something.
This unspoken trauma bond.
Yeah.
And so like you're best mates with them after that fact, but like the first time you ever speak to them is actually on the plane home. It's It's very
well,
weird.
I mean, for me and Maddie, I guess that was kind of the case because like we went like heaps close beforehand, and then at the end of the race she's like helping me through that last obstacle, and then I'm just bawling my eyes out, cuddling her, being like, oh my god, what's happening? Like just losing my mind. Yeah, it's pretty incredible. Oh god, I'm getting like emotional thinking about it. Jesus Christ, it's gonna be
that's what humans miss out on these days. Because we're all comfy.
Yeah. Oh boy. So yeah, at least the best network in Australia, Telstra, will have coverage all over. So we can't waste our phone batteries.
So we need one phone per team. To be honest, we'll have two, fully charged, chucking on Telstra. You'll learn to love Ziploc bags as well for this sort of thing. So you just have like a couple of boxes of Ziploc bags, waterproof them. Lots of little tips and tricks.
I think it's definitely worth as well, like touching back on Red Bull, as we are I'm a Red Bull player. We do have access to a suite of athletes that have taken part in the race before. So we should definitely set up a meeting with them and just be like, all right, what do you think is, nutrition wise, what do you take to each station? Any particular parts that you wish you knew about beforehand, or, any little life hacky type things that you wish you knew going in. I think that type of thing, like I have no doubt that you can create a great training program. That's not a concern, but I think the little, the little finesse things that will help, I think.
And just
valuable.
I used to hold information nights for enduro, and the people that I'd be training, they were athletes, so they were triathletes and whatnot, but they would come for the little tips and tricks of just running the course, because I've run the course multiple times. So people like Courtney Atkinson, who we'll be speaking to, he's run this course, so it'll be great to pick his brain about, what's the terrain like? Do you get, what sort of plants fall into your shoes? Should we get gators, etc.? Those sorts of things.
Yeah, that's so true. Airguard, what kind of bugs are we coming up against?
What sort of bugs? Yep. Does it smell?
Like for sleeping and stuff, do we bring tents, or that's kind of?
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure that's an accommodation type thing.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's going to be, we'll have to figure that one out in the back end. Yep.
So yeah, that's Defiance, Red Bull Defiance.
Yeah.
We'll do a proper announcement and we'll keep everyone updated on how things are tracking and do some content around the types of training we're going to be doing and how we're feeling leading up. We've got 4 months, so we've got, probably, like monthly check-ins or something that we'll do to update just on our own channels, not necessarily during the podcast, but
Yeah, for sure.
anything you want to add to that?
Nah, I'm pumped. I'm excited.
I'm excited,
Because obviously I used to be going to multiple events a year, pre-2018, 2019. This is the first big event. It was post-COVID as well, just to have a date in a calendar. Actually, not the first big one. We've got Wings for Life. I've got the race that I'm doing tomorrow, which I've been preparing for a couple of months.
Yeah.
So it's all just kind of coming into a head again, a bit of a flow there. So yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be good.
Yeah. I just want to finish and I don't want to let anybody down. And I just feel like there's a lot of, I don't know, no one's like putting expectations on me. I'm definitely putting it on myself. But I think, again, just because I do want to set that example, I suppose, as a gamer, that it's not, you don't have to be unfit and lazy if you play games. Like, you can be anything you want to be. And if you want to be on a fitness stage with some of the best athletes in the country, then you can do it if you want to. If you put your mind to it and if you train for it, you can do anything. So kind of feel like I have to prove that.
If you think you can't, you're right.
Exactly. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Yeah. Just start pumping myself up. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to like really getting back into the training and just figuring out a good schedule where that's going to be more possible, and again bringing it to the channel again, because that was really fun last week.
Sweet.
It was cool.
Nice.
So
more on that later. Updates later.
Yeah. And move on to Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
I don't know if you guys have heard of this game. It's kind of an indie. It's kind of went a little bit under the radar, but there's this game that came out this year called Elden Ring. It is incredible, and my article is finally out. It's such a bad game.
Worst game. Awful.
My article is finally out. So I did a piece with Red Bull a couple weeks ago, and it was originally intended to be like a collaborative kind of just like a write-up. It wasn't necessarily meant to be like a one-on-one interviewee type thing. And then I got the Q&A questions from the author and put a lot of time into it. I was like, I really just want to have a couple of days with these questions so that I can really expand on what I want to say about it. And I'm really fortunate that they gave me that platform and that chance to do that, because I'm really happy with how it turned out. And I got an email from him yesterday, and I quote, "Your answers were so good and had such an amazing flow to them. I just ran with this as an interview. For now, this was just simply too good a content opportunity not to do it as is." Which has just made me feel really good, because I put a lot of work into it. So if you want to see the article, it is up. I retweeted it on Twitter today, so if you can go head on over and give that some support, that would be fabulous. But I just, got to write a big expose, I suppose, on my thoughts of all things Elden Ring and all things Soulsborns. And as someone who's, relatively new to the games, I've only been playing them for a year and a half or whatever, since Demon's Souls and the PS5, and I've just fallen in love with the genre and the FromSoft games, and really want to encourage other people to play it, because I've been in that situation of thinking that I'm too crap to play those games. They're hard. They're not for me. And having the classic gamers, gatekeepers being like, "You're shit. Don't play this. You're bad at it." Blah blah blah. Like, I think I just want to be, I guess, the Grace's guidance in your life to be like, you can play that hard game. Like, I have got tips for you to make it easier. So how did you find Elden Ring, Jeff, you've played some of the FromSofts, but never to their entirety.
I don't know. I think I represent the
working class.
I'm gonna put it out
like
there. I don't think I'm bad at games. I think I definitely have the skill to finish those games and absolutely smash them. I just don't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have speaking of the mental fortitude required to get through an ultra marathon, I don't have the mental fortitude to repeatedly do the same run up to a boss over and over again just to do a boss battle, if that makes sense.
Which Elden Ring did kind of eliminate quite a lot.
That was literally my point, was going to be that Elden Ring is a very accessible Soulsborne game, because I got a decent amount into 3, you could probably say.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like, yeah, I get that the deaths are part of the game and you work out the patterns and strategies, but literally for me, who has not usually longer than 45 minutes to spare before I have to go to either a job or get dinner ready or some such, literally do not have the freedom to sit there and figure that out. So,
yeah. You started Demon Souls on the PS5, and I think it was only a couple of deaths against like Tower Knight or something. You were like, this is just not for me.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go do some paid work or something. Yeah.
The runs are brutal.
Yeah. And that's it. So Elden Ring for me has been a fantastic experience because of the open worldedness and because of the somewhat, I won't say easy mode, because I don't like speaking to you the way that it's been phrased. The fact that you can get the summons, you can summon in other people, you can bring in like the mimic tier and those sorts of things. Absolutely are strategies that you can not do if you want to be an absolute beast as well. So all of those options there, it's really good. And the fact that you can actually, with the number of save points, the number of points of grace, etc., you can actually, you know what, oh man, I got a phone call, let me just call it here, I'll go take care of business and I'll come back. Amazing.
I think for the time port, even though the game is so huge and so expansive, it's probably the best one for people that do only have 45 minutes to jump into. You will blink and that time will be over, but if you are up against a boss, you'll get a good amount of time against that boss in that period of time, because you're not going to be having to do a bunch of backtracking every time you die.
Exactly. Don't get me wrong. I do appreciate going up against a boss multiple times, and every time you go up against it, you get the health bar down a little bit more, and that's very satisfying. But what I hated was if I had to run up to 2 or 3 minutes through trash enemies just to make it to the start, and now I'm already on the back foot.
Dragon Bridge.
I'm already on the back foot. I've already used 3 flasks just to get here. I was like, ugh. So that annoyed me a lot.
It is very forgiving, for sure.
Yeah, 100%. It's I did have a actually the fact that it's open world, you can go do something else is a big part of it. But one thing that got me as well is that the mechanics have been brought into the 21st century, I suppose, is probably a pretty poor way of putting it. Like the fact that you've got like a jump on a button, you can jump, you can do all those sorts of things, you can jump up onto a horse, etc. Just remembering going back to playing Demon Souls and playing Dark Souls 3 and watching you play Dark Souls 2 especially, the pace of it seemed a lot more like you remember in the old days of car simulators, like it'd be the difference between playing a game like Burnout and playing a game like Gran Turismo 2, where one was like ultra high paced and fast and really fun, and the other one was like an Uber simulator where it's like, okay, if you turn the wheel too hard and you're going too fast, you're going to skid out of the way. That's what the old Dark Souls games felt like. If you mashed attack, then guess what, you've lined up 4 attacks and you're going to get hit because you can't block in time, kind of thing. So I feel like it's a lot more of a fluid gameplay, which I enjoy a lot too.
I don't know, I'm just so fond of all of them that I can kind of take them for their time, I suppose, and I have been thinking about going back to Dark Souls 1 and playing like Daughters of Ash mod or something, because I just want more Souls. But it's gonna be hard going back to kind of the jankiness, I suppose, because I mean Dark Souls is how old now? Like, when did the first Dark Souls come out?
2018, 17,
2011.
Jesus. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, they're old games, and I mean it's 11 years old. But they're so unique and so special, and I think they're all great in their own right. Even number 2, even though people hate it. But Elden Ring has really just taken everything that's great about all of them and just mashed it together in this beautiful open world with, current gen graphics, and the story's great. All the voice acting's perfect. Like everything about it is just, I've said it a billion times, but I do really think this is like a game of the decade type game that we're going to remember in like 30 years. We're going to go back and be like, oh, remember Elden Ring? Like, God, that was so iconic. And so it brought so many people to the franchise. And it does make me a little bit nervous about what they can do next, because it's just been so solid. But obviously that's a long way away. We've got, potential DLCs probably coming that I'm really looking forward to. And I just want to get as many people into it as possible. And I just want to keep playing it forever because it's just so heckin' good. Oh, my God.
I, for one, would never, ever go back and play any other Demon Souls games.
You would never go back?
Hell no.
No Souls ones?
Not at all. Not at all. I wouldn't go play any of the old ones. No. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Time, it's fine.
What I'm saying is that I 100% can see where they've made improvements, and it's just been a constant improvement up until Elden Ring. And I can 100% say that any DLC or any sequel that comes out at this point, I am in for sure. So I mean, I think this game in the Soulsborne timeline has been the one that's converted me into the world, and there's a few reasons which I've covered for why I'm in that world now. I suppose any deviation away from those quality of life type things would probably lose me pretty quickly, but at this stage it seems like it's just on an upward path of improvement. So I too am looking forward to, I suppose, the future of the franchise there.
To be honest, if you feel that way about Elden Ring, you would probably really enjoy Sekiro, because it's the next best in my opinion.
Yeah. You know what I'd really enjoy?
And you can jump.
Yeah.
And you can zip line.
I would enjoy a remake of Ninja Gaiden because of the speed and the pace and the difficulty.
Yeah. Want a Sake of America mod for the earlier games? Yeah, just to make it not so time consuming. It's brutal.
Just a torrent mod.
I like the way you play. I think you can go back and get the enjoyment. Some of the level design in the previous games is still amazing, but the quality of life stuff makes it hard. From Software are very good at DLC. I look forward to DLC.
Yeah, sweet. I think they're just good at improving, which is fantastic to see in this day and age. It's they're taking on. They may not even be taking on feedback. They're just sort of out of their own design process, making things really, really good.
Yeah, it's really hard to, as well. Like in the article, there was a question about why is Elden Ring so amazing? What makes it that iconic game? And I don't think it's a single thing. I think again, it's kind of that culmination of everything that they've learned over the last 6 or 7 or whatever games there are. They've just taken the best bits and put it all together while keeping it consistent and challenging, but opening it up in a way that it is more accommodating. I'm not going to say accessible, because from an accessibility standpoint, like if we're talking about physical disabilities and things, I don't think it's very accessible, because there's no
I think it's the wrong word,
story mode or anything like that. Yeah. It's accessible from a time standpoint for sure, like you mentioned. But yeah, in terms of accessibility, I don't know how good it is at that. That's not really my place to say. But in terms of accommodating new players, I think you're given a wide arsenal of tools to use, like the Ashes and the Stakes of America and summoning and all that kind of stuff. You're given a lot more. And I think the story, still very vague, but for the first time, you're given proper tutorial prompts every time you pick something new up. It's kind of like, hey, this is kind of what this does. Here's a crafting kit if you want to make some stuff. It can help you on your journey. There's this and that. And even though some people may miss the tutorial.
I was going to say, that aspect of the game, I have absolutely no issues with. I'm of the age where I came from, we had no internet. I had to try and figure out how to get to the next level in this adventure game from Sierra. And if I wanted help, I'd have to dial a 1-500 number and put
or write in like a letter and wait for it to get printed.
Have to wait, exactly. Or the next issue of PC Gamer where they had the hint in the back columns there. So like those sorts of things, like where they leave a lot of stuff to be figured out, or you have to try and build a narrative in your own mind and then go, oh, actually, yeah, the story is like that. I'm fine with that, because a lot of games these days spoon feed people way too much. So
for sure.
I'm
so that they do
for that.
Yeah, when they do jump into something like Elden Ring and it doesn't hold your hand, they're like, this game sucks. It's like, nah, it's just different. It's hard. It's punishing. And that's not for everyone. Like, you don't have to like it. It's completely fine. If that's not your bag, then it's cool. It doesn't have to be. But I think most people can appreciate at least that this is definitely a really special game, and we've been blessed that it has come out.
Oh yes.
At all, especially in this
I'm not going to detract from how good the game is, but I wonder if the fact that it came out in the time of society that it has done is that people were much more receptive to such a good piece of software. Like, does that make sense? Maybe if
they came out a year earlier, they probably would have gotten even more, because everyone was locked down, like Among Us or something. You know?
Or if it had come out when there wasn't a lockdown, whether it just would have sort of gone by the wayside and people would be, oh, just another Souls game, right? Soulsborne.
I don't really think so. I don't know. FromSoft runs deep. Like, I think they could bring out anything and it would be an instant bestseller kind of thing. Not everyone would like it, but I think it would definitely still sell. They just kind of have that clout at this point in the gaming world that pretty much anything they put out is kind of, everything they touch turns to gold, I guess.
Yeah, cool.
Which is a hard reputation to keep up to. Like, I mean, people hate Dark Souls too. Like, the general consensus is that shit. And there's, the few people like us, Aaron, and people in chat that actually really liked it. The biggest compliment for the game is that there were so many people that would never try a Souls game in the past, but they at least gave it a proper go, even if they didn't stick with it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think, and that's, maybe just the way that the gaming world is going, people are feeling more encouraged maybe, or more comfy to try something a little out of their comfort zone. And that's kind of why I'm always going to be like, nah, you can do it. Like, just give it a try. You don't have to, just, understand that's part of the process. If you want any help, like, we're all here for you. We had someone come in the other day and they were like, I'm stuck at Margit. I don't know what to do. What the hell? And then like Gomez linked up with him and helped him get through it. And then they're on their journey. And it's like, that's so cool. And that's so wholesome, because they would have just been stuck there beating their head against the wall. But, because we do have this community and everyone here is really cool and helpful, like, we could get that person past, and we taught them about the ashes that they didn't know about. And, it's really cool being a part of a FromSoft from the get-go, because that's new for me. Like, I joined the journey from Demon Souls and didn't really have anyone in my chat that knew anything about it at the time. So I was kind of just on my own using shitty spells all the way through the whole game.
I think it's just come to mind now that I think also one of the things that keeps people in it, or that makes it such a great piece of art, is that you can be stuck in a certain way, and because of the way that it doesn't handhold you, it doesn't spoon feed you, you realize that there's this whole mechanic in the game, such as the ashes, that you've just never utilized, and then it becomes a whole new lease of life on the gameplay that you've had.
Yeah.
Or like with me, I started as a faith build, realized that I was pretty trash at it, and then we chucked a bunch of int into it, and look at that, it's good, it's great. So yeah.
I think as well, like, there is still, like, if you're a new person going in, and even for me coming into this game, if I didn't have, a few helpful tidbits in chat, there's tons of things I would have missed. So I think for the average person, if you're just, you're on your own, you don't have a ton of friends that are into gaming, and you're like, I'm going to try this Elden Ring game and I'm not going to look anything up, there is so much you would miss. You wouldn't know if you're jumping into it that, oh, hey, you need to read all the item descriptions, because they tell you where you need to go on your path, or they give you a piece of lore that's going to help you understand something else, or you're going to find out a boss's weakness, or, there's so much that's not taught, I suppose, in the tutorial about the FromSoft games. This one's a little more ready to present you with stuff you need to know, but there is also so much that it's not. So I think, like Aaron just said, like, Twitch has kind of helped the Souls games, even though they're notorious for having the worst backseating ever. And I can definitely attest to that. There are some, helpful things that just having that person and, someone like the other day, coming into chat, being like, hey, I don't know how to tackle this. We can give you like little breadcrumbs to help you understand how you should be taking on this challenge. And that's sometimes all you need. You just need that little glimmer of hope to get you past. And then you're like, oh, I did it. I get that sense of achievement, like, hell yeah, I did it. And then you're on to the next part and, you know, the next challenge. And I think that's really what makes them special, is you're constantly, you know, getting that elation from beating a hard boss and then having this big challenge presented to you and then, you know, overcoming it eventually. And it's not something that you get to feel in your day-to-day life if you're just, you know, going through the motions of a normal job or whatever. You don't get those highs.
100%.
It's a great game. You should play it. I love it.
Good game. Give it a shot.
So good. Yeah, definitely Game of the Year for me. I think if anything else wins, it's going to be robbed. Not that Game of the Year really matters, but yeah, it's pretty incredible.
Yeah, that's cool.
You need to finish it.
Well done.
Where are you up to?
On your on the article, by the way.
Thanks.
I haven't said it. Yeah.
What's the name of it again? It's called Elden Ring.
What am I up
You
to?
just got to the snowy place.
Hallig Tree. I got the secret path to the Hallig Tree. Just there now.
That's right. Yeah, you just beat Niall.
Yes.
Yeah, so Jeff's pretty deep in it. And definitely, I love watching someone experience it for the first time, but there's been a lot of times where it's like, there's something that's really going to help you. Would you like to know? And often you're like, yeah, God. And it's like, cool. Like, so useful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, if at any point in time you're listening to this and you're trying to get through the game,
strategy
we can help.
From Soft, like a strategy to build a community is to make it so that there are going to be people that figure out certain things and that you have to find out through other people. I think that's a good strat in building.
Yeah, it's like a web
community. Yeah.
I mean, the lore masters as well. Incredible what they can figure out by just reading into every little item and piecing it all together and creating these, you know, family trees of how everyone's related and how they're all intertwined. And it's amazing what they can figure out. It's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty
Shout out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably it's been 2.5 hours.
Well, we did have a lot. We'd had 9 months to cover.
We did. I think we've covered a good portion of it. There's been a lot going on behind the scenes over the last 9 months, and maybe it'll be another 9 months till we do another episode. Who knows? But yeah, we really just wanted to come on and update you all on the house and the move and Defiance. And obviously Defiance was a big chunk because we're both very excited about it. And it's going to be basically the forefront of our focus for the next 4 months until the event. And by then, maybe our house will have walls. So is there anything else you'd like to cover, Jeff?
Not really. I mean, there'll be things that I think of, but to be honest, like when we meet again here on the Pipe Ups, I think we can have a chat more about, I suppose, current things. A lot of stuff that we're talking about now is either past or future, because they're just big things. But there were obviously things that we used to cover in Pipe Ups, such as, I suppose, what sort of content are we both consuming and what are we thinking about it? Like we did audiobooks, podcasts and things, but we've been watching a lot of movies. We've been listening to some podcasts and stuff, and even just like television shows and stuff. Yeah, which I think it adds.
Oh my God,
it's a little bit.
Special mentions to Severance. You got to watch it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Severance.
Holy hell.
Yeah.
Incredible show.
Severance is great.
Oh, yeah. Special mention. Cool. So that's probably where we're going to wrap up Pipe Up for today for our 2022 episode. Thank you all so much for joining myself
and Jeff and me.
And if you do want to see this, if you do want to see this, it's going to go up onto YouTube with both of our perspectives side by side, and it also goes up on all of your audio podcasty platforms.
Multiple platforms. So yeah. And when you do download as well, make sure you do hit the subscribes and stuff. If you can. Look, I haven't said this in the past ones, but I understand how this mechanic works now. If you do have the opportunity to leave a review of the podcast as well, please do. It actually helps a lot with discoverability. It also helps a lot with, I suppose, just the rankings and how how we sit in just as content creators. The analytics are pretty important to us. So yeah, do leave a review. And they can also be used as feedback. If there's something that you'd like us to cover or do differently, we can take that on board. We can have a read through that too.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty close with our community. So we do have things like Discord where we can take more immediate feedback. And obviously because this isn't our main like platform or anything where we're pushing podcasts, we're not going to, I feel like our podcast in particular is not really something, even though discoverability is great, of course. I feel like people who don't know who we are aren't going to care, which is fine. Because like, why would you? You know what I mean? Like we're not super famous drag artists or anything that can give tips. Like we're just a couple streamers. So like, I don't see why anyone outside the community would want to listen, but maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I just kind of like it. It's just fun.
Because a lot of the times we do end up on and this is just me, like my area of qualified professionalism is in fitness, and we do cover a lot of things that people say, hey, I didn't know that. So just sharing the knowledge of that sort of thing. And then for you as well,
I think you should just do like, if that was the thing, I feel like if you were to become full-time fitness, like professional and streamer, you could probably do your own.
I probably could,
just
but it wouldn't be as fun as this, would it?
Yeah, I suppose. I don't know. I don't know. It's cool. Right. I don't know. I just like it. We have 500 downloads as well.
Yeah, we did.
So
I just want to put it out there though, like that I think you'll agree with me here, is that it's often it's often the negative voices that speak the loudest. So even if you just make a little habit of it, if you enjoy something, not this, but just something in general, if you enjoy it, leave a positive review. Be that little shining beacon of positivity in someone's life, because there's too much of the other side of that. So yeah.
Yeah, I literally had this conversation with G the other day. Just like, for example, if you go to a restaurant and you have like a pretty good experience, you have a nice time with your friends, that's cool. You just remember that and you leave, and that's it. But if someone has a really shitty time, they're going to make a point of being like, I'm going to go write a scathing review to make sure that nobody goes here. Yeah. And that's kind of how it feels as a creator sometimes on the internet, because people that have shitty, loud opinions are always the ones that are going to be in your face about it. And it feels like, there's a lot of people. Twitch has a big lurker culture where people are just like quietly sitting back, really enjoying the content, but don't feel the need to scream it from the rooftops. So for us on the other side, we don't get the good feedback, we just get the bad, and it starts to feel like everyone hates you or everyone's like negative. And especially like it feels like on Twitter everyone's negative and hateful and just evil, and it's because the people that are just enjoying their life, doing their thing, don't talk about it. And I think we should be talking about the good stuff. So to echo what Jeff said, like if you do see something wherever it is on the internet, you're like, that's really cool. I made a rule for myself on like platforms. If I smile or laugh or like what I see, I make a point of leaving some kind of engagement, because it does.
You do this either.
Yeah, if something makes me laugh, I'll leave a little laughy emoji or something. Like I make a point of engaging with that because that gave me an emotional response, and I think that's special. And I encourage you all to do the same.
Nice.
Cool.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right. That's going to wrap up Pipe Up episode 7. Thank you all so much for listening and joining us either live or after the fact. And hopefully we'll see you in the not too distant future.
Bye.
Bye-bye.